I'm with
I'm
Joe
saying
here.
it's just not there yet. I'm not saying I don't want Osborne ever.
Can you actually bring it in at this point in his life, though?
I don't know.
Yeah,
Like, that doesn't even
100%.
make sense, though. Why would it make sense to bring it in this late in his life?
It would make sense because you're about to do Armor Wars, where all of Stark stuff is up for grabs. You can 100% bring Osborne.
I'm with Joe here.
It's just not there yet. Oh wait, hold on. I'm not saying I don't want
Tia?
There we go.
That was a lot.
Yeah, we went back in time apparently.
I wish I could go back in time and change the ending of Spider-Man No Way Home. Oh, did I say that on live?
Ooh.
We are live. Welcome everybody to our spoiler review of Spider-Man No Way Home that came out in theaters this Thursday. It is already racking up the dollars. I just hate that this movie came out in the pandemic because this would be probably Marvel's highest grossing movie ever, if not for the pandemic. And obviously us getting, the pandemic box office. This movie was insane. There was not the only empty seats in my theater were the handicap seats. That was it.
Why are you saying the pandemic?
What do you mean?
If
not for COVID, this would have made way more.
Where is it showing that it's being, first of all, 99% audience score? That is crazy.
Yeah.
And understandable. But dude, I just went to it came out Thursday, right? I went to a Sunday 10:40 a.m. showing. It was sold out. There was no tickets available. It was
it's got to be some places that are still scary.
These things are selling out all
That's
over
what I'm saying.
It's ain't full of capacity everywhere.
But we're saying this as people that are looking in our own spots, right? We're looking in New York, New Jersey, Maryland, Virginia, and it's sold out there. That does not mean globally everywhere it's sold out.
Okay, so you're talking about worldwide.
Might still be just worldwide, not within our own corners.
No.
So I know some friends that won't go right now. So
right,
so
especially since some countries are going back into lockdown.
Yeah, you're right. You're right, Tia. I honestly, I don't know why I was just thinking domestic. You're right, worldwide.
No, worldwide.
That makes sense.
Even here, there's probably still some people that are kind of just like, I don't know what Megatron or Omnicron or Omnipotent is out here. I ain't going to no theater for no.
I'll be honest, dude. It was a little. I don't know if you guys felt this way. I mean, I braved through it. I was fine. It really didn't affect me that much. But at one point, especially when I saw it on Thursday, I went with my brother, and he was having a little hard time. I don't want to say exactly how much, but it was a little off-putting being in a packed theater like that. I'm not gonna lie.
Yes, 100%. Especially when I
I don't eat anymore in the theater.
Oh, no,
I kept my mask on.
I was like, oh my God, look how packed this is.
I had my mask on and I'm looking around and people are screaming with mask off. And I'm like, oh God, this must be what hell looks like.
My theater was like, my theater had a thing where it's like, put your mask back on when you leave the theater. And it's like, when did you take it off? Like, keep that shit on. What the hell are you doing?
When I went to see it twice, when we were sitting down watching the film, nobody had their mask on. I wasn't wearing my mask either.
Yeah, the person sitting next to me pulled down her mask to scream, like when the Spider-Man.
As if you can't hear.
Yeah. Dude, I was
okay.
I was high-fiving people next to me when things were happening. I was like, oh yes,
absolutely not.
Yes.
Trayvon's like, thank God Joe wasn't in our theater.
If you were at Joe's theater, they were all sharing the same beer. They were all eating the same popcorn. Joe was open mouth kissing people during this movie. It was fun. It was fun. It was fun.
It was definitely some open mouth. I'm not gonna lie.
It was fun. I was in the back judging and like, should I maybe jump it? I don't even know. It's crazy. It's a weird thing. But anyway, we are here to talk. We're here to give our spoiler review for, like I said, Spider-Man No Way Home. Again, this is a spoiler review, not a non-spoiler. It's why we waited all the way till Sunday night to give people, diehard people, if they got a chance, they were seeing it between Thursday and Saturday, Sunday at the least. So we wanted to give that wide berth so no one kind of felt like, dang, the movie just came out yesterday and you're already dropping spoilers. So
there were people knowing that. So hey.
Well,
not for nothing. I saw spoilers. I saw spoilers before I saw it.
Yeah. I will say though, I judged all you YouTubers that were recording the movie and putting the clips out early.
Yeah.
I'm thanking you now because it is really cool to just
It is.
YouTube it and watch it again, but hearing the crowd in the background of it.
Now I'm fine with it. Yeah.
Yeah, now I'm fine with it.
Is anybody YouTubing? Is anybody showing that? Because it's the only thing I want to see definitively. Because even on a second watch, it's really hard to focus on specific things. The parts where the things were coming through at the end, the actual piece.
I would love to.
I want to see that being shown so I can pause it. Because the only two that I found definitively was Rhino and Scorpion. That was the only two I saw.
That video is up, but to be fair, it's the photo in the actual movie is already grainy itself. So someone recording it isn't gonna give us the resolution we want. So we're gonna have to wait until that thing comes out on 4K.
Not that we're promoting pirating video
not at all.
movies.
Not at all. You'll never find it on this page, but I've seen it other places. And
hey, people gotta eat.
People do have to eat. They do. But anyway, let me introduce my panel. We might have a few more people pop in, but we're going to start with what we have now, starting off with Trayvon, who is Spider-Man out. Yes, everything is Spider-Man. The chair, the backdrop, the hoodie. What's going on, Trayvon?
Hi everybody. I'm very happy to be here. Can't wait to talk about this. I was ready to talk about this Thursday night probably. So it's social media has been really hard for me because I've been wanting to retweet and post all kind of crap. I was like, can't do it. Don't do it. It's not nice. Don't do it to people. But I want to badly. I see stuff and I DM stuff to myself. I'll wait. I'll just retweet this stuff later. But yeah, I'm just really happy. I waited to show this chair until we did this because I was like, I had the chair for like a week or two. I was like, I'll just wait. I had the Hawkeye swapped it out so you guys wouldn't see it or nothing. I was like, wait until I have it until we do this, and I'm excited. So yeah, ready to talk about this.
Yes. Like I said, anytime you guys see something and you need to get it off, text me. I text Joe a lot when that movie ended because I needed to bounce that off of somebody. Just having Joel next to me wasn't enough. I needed Joel. I needed Joe. I know I was praying, hoping God would be like, yo, I saw it too, man. That was crazy, right? When he was flipping, I needed to talk to everybody about this movie. So anytime that happens again, Trayvon, you hit me up. We'll just talk. But the man I do believe is only second to Stan Lee as far as his fandom for Spider-Man. And that's my good friend, Joe. What's up, Joe?
What's up, guys? And I postponed a show I was supposed to do on my channel tonight to be here. I seen the movie again for a second time this morning. Yes. And I couldn't wait to talk about this. Look, I'm going to get into a couple of things. I will later. But I do want to start out by saying that I absolutely loved this film. And it was one of my favorite films, definitely since Endgame. But of all the movies that we've seen recently, whether in the theaters or not, this is definitely up there. And I absolutely loved it. I did.
I hope J.J. Abrams called John Watts and was just like, oh, that's how you complete a saga and give fans. Oh, okay. I wasn't sure. I didn't know. Okay, I get it now.
Hey,
I'll get it right next time.
To be fair, Rian Johnson didn't do Far From Home.
That is very true. That is very true. Very true. But again,
but I agree with you.
Let's not start Nerd Wars.
Just saying.
Nerd Wars.
I've already seen some with DC.
That's also what happens when you have one cook in the kitchen. Not two cooks in the kitchen. But anyway, Tia, welcome, Tia. How you doing, Tia?
I am doing great. I thought for a second I wasn't even going to be able to see Spider-Man because literally when I went to my local movie theater, most of the times that night were sold out. I'm surprised that I even squeezed into one of these things, but I am very excited to be here to speak to you guys about Spider-Man No Way Home. There was a lot that I liked about this movie, and I might be in the minority here, but there's definitely a lot that I didn't like in this movie. So
I'm with you, Tia.
definitely looking forward to talking about it.
All right, I am perfectly ready to assemble two other versions of Juwan to fight off whatever you and Joe are throwing. So I'm ready.
Just the facts, man. Just the facts.
Prime, first of all, love the shirt. Second of all, I want to point out the fact that Spider-Man felt very, offended by them putting Cap Shield over the Statue of Liberty. So he said, "Nah, I gotta go. It's gotta go. We was good with what it was before." But what's going on, Prime?
Man, super excited. Definitely had to jump on in here for a little bit. And A is one of the people. I know Tia said she had trouble finding times. Guess I was pretty lucky. The day that the tickets went on sale, actually, I was sitting at work. And was fortunate enough at the time to, when I ordered them through my phone, it was only 3 seats taken at the time. And that was about 5 minutes after the tickets had opened up. So I had mine on lock since they became available. And wow, and I was glad because the theater was packed.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I keep telling people, man, that Thursday and Friday, that was chaos. That was pure chaos.
I can imagine because I managed to dodge all the spoilers because I actually didn't go until last night. So I bought tickets for Saturday, so I dodged the spoilers, and I was glad I did.
And I was telling Jawan, not only did the big like AMC and Fandango crash the night that the tickets went on sale that Monday, which I think was Cyber Monday, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or Spider Monday.
But Fandango also crashed Friday when people were going to see the film.
Yeah.
People were having a hard time showing off their QR codes to get scanned. And I was even trying to find tickets to go on Sunday. I had every intention of going to see it twice. So when I was trying to log in and trying to buy tickets before they sold out for Sunday morning show, I couldn't log in at Fandango at all.
Well, let me tell you how nerve-wracking this was. I actually bought my tickets when I got there to the theater, which I know is very risky, but I wasn't even sure if we were going to be able to go on Friday. But I'm online. I was originally supposed to see the 6:20, and I was standing there online. There's only one attendant while there's chaos in the entire theater. And it was like, I'm looking at the board, 6:20 sold out, 6:35 sold out, sold out. And there was another where it was like there wasn't 2 seats together for me and my boyfriend to sit with each other, so then I had to do the next one. And the woman literally was like, are you paying cash or card? I'm like, card. And she's like, well, you might want to do it quickly because there's only 2 seats left and like people online might be trying to get them. And it was the most hectic thing. It was so stressful getting these freaking tickets.
Yeah, no, as I told Joe before, I hear you guys and I feel for you guys, but I made Joel get my tickets, so I went through none of this stress. So when Joel gets on in a little bit, he's gonna, yeah, man, it was so difficult. And Joe was like, did you get them yet? And I'm like, I don't know. I tested Joel for that. So whenever I
didn't get tickets for the first show, for Thursday's show. I didn't get tickets that Monday until 6 a.m. I was trying from midnight on Sunday night. Yeah. Crash. So I went to bed.
Yes.
I went to bed. I'm like, I'll just wake myself up early in the morning. I woke up like around 6:30, logged right in. And thank God, I guess so many people gave up. There were only 2 tickets there was 2 tickets that were sold that for the show that I wanted to see. So the theater was wide open. I was like, all right, good. Boom. Three seats. Got it.
It was not easy, but go ahead, Brian.
I was just saying, so yeah, I think here and of course in VA in Virginia, you guys were talking about the Fandango, AMC and Regal. AMC and Regal were having issues here.
Yep.
But what I don't know if one of the reasons I didn't have a lot of problems. So I don't know if you guys, where you guys are, have Movie Land or Bowtie Cinemas. But I am fortunate enough. We've only had it here. It's been less than 10 years. Here in Richmond, Virginia, just for a few years. We always had the Regals and we had a few AMCs. Mm-hmm. But that was no issue. But like I said, then again, like I said, I jumped right on. But all the problems you were hearing were through the AMC and the Regal theaters. And I'm fortunate enough. I live in the proximity of about 20 minutes, so either way you go, there's at least 5 theaters. But there's only one. There's only one Bowtie. Bowtie is like 5 minutes from my house, so that's always. Plus, they serve beer, so that's a plus.
Gotta go there. That's how you get prime.
That's why I like going to the Alamo.
I've been to Alamo before, but they're good. They're nice.
No.
I will say, as we jump into these spoilers, I do want to give a huge shout out to. Without this man, none of us would be here talking about this movie, and that is the great Stan Lee. Who I cried a lot of this movie because I'm just like, Stan Lee would have loved this. He would have loved seeing all his children come together to be Spider-Man in one movie. Go ahead, Joe. You about to ask something?
Yeah, because you know what? I didn't even think that. You brought up Stan Lee. Did they give a nod to Stan Lee in all this film?
It said at the end, I think characters created by Stan Lee. And
no. Besides that, like they have the graffiti for Ditko. I caught one from McFarlane.
They wouldn't have this far. I mean, yes, Stan Lee's baby 100% was Spider-Man.
Yeah,
man loved him more than anything.
But been there somewhere.
They gave so many tributes to Stan Lee.
Yeah, of course. He had a cameo.
Died. Yeah, from the day he died all the way through. So
yeah.
No, they didn't do it glaring. Now, if it's a hidden thing somewhere, sure, but they didn't do it as like in memory of because
right. No, not more.
No, that would have confused some people. Yeah,
but no, only because we all caught the Ditko even in the trailer, right? It wasn't until the second viewing that I was watching did I see the McFarlane one. So now I'm just wondering out loud, actually, if there was something for Stan Lee, like a newspaper or a magazine or something like that, like they did in Venom.
Didn't catch it.
I didn't catch
it.
Okay.
Catch it at all. But yeah, he would have loved this, and the cameo for that would have been awesome.
Yeah.
Stan Lee interacting with his three boys. You know what I'm saying? So I do feel good though that he at least got to see some of Tom Holland before he passed, because it's the best Spider-Man. But all right, let's get into these spoilers. I'm gonna start off with you, Prime. First question I want to give to you before you just tell me your whole thoughts on the movie. The first question I want to ask you is, did you happen to catch the small little Easter egg we got of Peter's ex-girlfriend in this movie?
Of Peter's ex-girlfriend in the movie, I did not.
So the small little not cameo, but small little thing was that there was a newspaper. There was a newspaper stand, and there was a magazine that she was on the cover of, claiming that Spider-Man was a liar.
Mm-hmm.
That her dad wasn't this, her dad wasn't that. So it's letting us know that wherever she is, there's a possibility that full family could come back and then cause some trouble. So that was very interesting. That was very interesting that we got that. So I hope we do see something with that. I really do hope that wherever Peter goes to school, we get Gwen Stacy. I know everyone wants Peter to get back with MJ. I do too, but there has to be a buffer, and that buffer needs to be Gwen Stacy.
Can I ask a question before Prime goes? I'm sorry, but I'm very confused at the whole Spider-Man like moving forward thing, because Amy Pascal has said that, work on the next trilogy or something is happening, X, Y, and Z. But then Tom Holland is saying that he wants a break from Spider-Man. So is it that they're doing a trilogy without him, or they're just planning for this trilogy for like 5 years down the line or something?
No, this trilogy will be here soon. He'll also have to suit up again for the Avengers movie. Just think of it like this. Daniel Craig said the same thing. James Bond again? No. And then he got greenlit for another James Bond like a month after he said that. So it's very much so, look, I own you. Whatever breaks you think you need, you don't. Suit up, get to work, swing around.
Or it means give me a dump truck of money and I'll come back.
Yeah.
Or that. But I also can tell you right now, especially, and we'll talk about this, I don't want to get too much into it, but especially with the love that Andrew Garfield's getting now, that a lot of you little fake people didn't give him when he needed it to keep his job. But yeah, Tom Holland gives any trouble, they'll just go, well, you know what? Bibbidi bobbidi boo. Venom's world, Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man, and that's what we're going with now.
In fairness, even if you put Tom Holland in Amazing Spider-Man 2, that movie would have bombed. It was nothing to do with Andrew Garfield.
No, not at all. Yeah. I'm saying that people were saying his movies were bad.
Oh, I thought they were bad. Yeah,
that was the whole joke of Tobey Maguire saying to him, like, you're amazing. Like, no, seriously, like, you're amazing. He kept saying, I'm lame. I didn't really do anything. It was him being meta to us. To kind of get the idea of like, you guys didn't really appreciate me.
Even Electro told him, you're not even the shit anymore.
Yeah. I thought you were black. I was so disappointed to see you.
Which, by the way, totally took that as a Miles Morales. Like,
hell yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
like,
100%.
Yeah.
Okay.
It 100% was. It was definitely a nod. So Jamie Foxx somewhere when we see Miles will be like, yeah, I spoke that into existence. All right, Prime. What were your thoughts on Spider-Man No Way Home?
Wow. Man, I'm about to get emotional even thinking about this again. This was really good, man. I mean, it didn't disappoint. A lot of times we go to these movies that they get hyped up and we really want to see them, and they don't always pan out, and it's like a huge disappointment, and you're waiting for things to pick up, or you're waiting for this to happen, and it just never happened. Certainly not the case with this one. I thought the pacing was great. I was super stoked, and my son was as well, when we got to see Matt Murdock early. Like,
Yep.
I didn't have to wait. And as soon as the theater lost it. Like off top, they just lost it.
Yeah.
When we saw him, we saw Matt Murdock there. Of course, we knew all the villains that were going to be in it. We'll give a nod to two people. One of them is pretty obvious, but I thought Jamie Foxx was great because we know Jamie Foxx is a funny guy, and he could have just kind of overdid it, but everything he did was like, it's near perfect. Like everything was right on time. The jokes were there. Everything was just planning perfectly for him. He didn't overact. And we see that sometimes with when we see actors. Well, he's an actor, but we see comedians try to do their funny thing.
Yeah.
What else? And of course, you already know Jawan, me and the Goblin, Willem Dafoe. Wow. Wow. And and the only gripe I would have in the whole movie is, and we were talking about it after the movie, and it's the smallest of gripes. I love that they showed him and his vulnerabilities, but I wanted to see him in the mask just a little bit more before whatever happened. But beyond that, he was awesome. And I was thinking about this as soon as I saw Joe's shirt. And I don't know how many of you guys have ever seen this, but kind of telling my age here, but growing up, I was a huge Spider-Man and Amazing Friends fan.
Oh yeah.
There's an episode. Actually, it's if you go to Disney Plus now, it's the first episode. Actually, it was it's a Green Goblin episode. And if you listen to, and I forgot who did the voice back then and that, but if you listen to the voice and the struggle he's going through between being Norman Osborn and being the Goblin, it's Willem Dafoe sounded exactly like that, so much that when we got from the theater last night, I had to come back home and watch it again, like for the 85th time ever in my life. But I think he nailed that. And I think what I love most about the movie, and I'm sure a lot of people probably felt the same way, was two things. One, I know everybody got a reaction in the theater when we saw when Toby popped up, right? Mm-hmm. But it was crazy. A guy stood up in the middle of the theater in that second, and he was like, yeah, that's the real fucking Spider-Man. The whole theater that's lit up as soon as he did it, just as much as they did when we first saw him. But what I loved about this, too, is Andrew Garfield. And the reason I say that, you guys were just touching about it, most people will agree the Amazing Spider-Man movies were not good. Bottom of the totem pole in most people's eyes, right? This, in a small way, kind of felt like a redemption for him as well, because he was great. He was great. I mean, he 100%. Was really good in this movie, and they just didn't give him this one part. Everything he did, to showing compassion and being funny, talking about his life. I think he was really good, and I don't mean redemption just because he called MJ. I'm just talking about everything. He was really good in this movie, and I guess probably one of my top 3 favorite parts is when they were sitting there talking about all the aliens they had fought.
Yeah,
that was totally awesome. So, in a nutshell, for me, it just was great. I can't, I know Tia will tell us later she had some things she didn't like. I can honestly say the smallest of gripes for me is just I wanted to see the Goblin mask on him just a little bit more. But other than that, I can't nitpick anything. And like Joe, I would have gone to see this movie twice. Juwan, you probably remember I told you when I bought my tickets back when Black Panther came out. You know how I felt about that. Mm-hmm. I bought my tickets the day that they became available online, and I bought them for the Friday show, and then to go with the family, and then that same Sunday, 2 days later, for myself. And the only reason I didn't buy tickets this time because I realized it was the Sunday before Christmas, and I got a traditional thing I do with a couple of my buddies and a family member or two, where we get together to watch football that Sunday. But I would have gone back to see it again today, even though I just saw it at 7:20 last night. But I'll probably catch it again before it leaves the theater. But it's very, very little for me to gripe about. I totally love this movie. And lastly, I'll say, everybody talked about the emotional ride of the movie. I can honestly say I held up pretty good. I mean, even, May died and all that. I will honestly tell you, I probably didn't really get emotional. And I have to give a huge shout out to Zendaya, because that end scene when they're sitting there talking and he's telling her he's going to have to make her forget, man, that might be the best. And she's done some great stuff. That might have been the best part of any performance I've ever seen her do. That kind of got me.
It got me more than Aunt May dying. When I first saw the film, that scene when he was saying goodbye to them, that got me more than Aunt May dying, to be honest with you.
This was Zendaya's best acting in the Marvel universe, not outside of the Marvel universe, but in the Marvel universe. I think this is Zendaya's best acted film.
It hurt the most, Prime, because I want to give credit to Zendaya and that writing crew and the director. She says something and then does something that I was just like, oh, excuse me, I'm not crying, you're crying. It's when he tells Peter, I love you.
Yeah.
And then stops him from saying it.
Yep.
From saying it back. She didn't want to hear it back then. She wanted to hear it back when they reconnected.
Exactly.
And then what made that hurt even more was that Peter was ready to say it in the donut shop, but saw everything they had to go through just knowing him, and decided it was best that they not know him and that he live life alone than to bring them back in and risk anything, whether it's just them going to school, their life. So just her delivering that was so special. But she was, first of all, she had two amazing scenes. That end scene and then at Ned's mom's house where Andrew comes through and she's just like,
throwing the bread,
crawl around. And he's like, I'm not and then she's throwing biscuits at him and he's just like, is this enough? Like,
I have the Peter.
Are we good here?
I have the Peter tingle, just not for bread.
Right. Yeah. Just not for bread. And by the way, we're not going to get into this now. I'll get into this later, but I've heard from two sources that I completely trust that this will not be the last time we see Andrew Garfield in the Spider-Man suit.
100%.
So I do believe everyone that saw the end and was like, wait, if Tom Hardy Venom's gone, who's the Venom in this universe? That's not the question you should ask. The question you should ask is, if Venom's gone, who's the Spider-Man in his universe? That's the better question.
I have a question about that.
That's where we could see Andrew Garfield.
Well, let me ask you
this.
this.
I don't have a problem though.
And I didn't think about that, but that is awesome. And I don't know if anybody here has the answer to it or not, but and I want to make sure I didn't miss anything. So the Venom scene, the Venom after credits, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys think, is there another symbiote coming? Like maybe Toxin or something? Because what color was the little goo, the symbiote?
Black. Yeah.
So I was wondering in my mind, is that Venom, or are we going to see Toxin or somebody else?
It's Venom, but Toxin we'll see in Venom 3 because the cop's eyes lit up yellow to let us know that Toxin's probably
I took that end credit scene to basically show you that we are going to get Venom in Holland's universe at one point now.
Yeah.
This won't probably be Tom Hardy.
Yeah.
Because if Sony is smart, you build a safety net for yourself, which is explore what your universe would look like with a redeemed Spider-Man. And you let Marvel live out whatever they want to live out. And then you bridge it by introducing Miles and then giving us an actual event film called Into the Spider-Verse, where you can then bridge the two. And boom, there you go. So you could do a lot if you're Sony. You could build up your villain universe and then introduce, boom, the Spider-Man that has a take on the Kraven that we're building, the Venom that we have, the Morbius that we have, Andrew Garfield. That's who's doing that. MCU's doing whatever they're doing over here, because clearly him blipping back shows you he is no longer part of this same universe. he went back to his respective universe. So that's how it went down.
Gotcha.
On the Morbius wall, it was Toby's Spider-Man.
I'm going to tell you, like me and Joel said,
I can't.
Don't think Morbius till you see Morbius, because Morbius could have taken place during No Way Home. We don't know, is what I'm trying to say. The beginning of the movie could be him becoming Morbius. Then once he becomes it, he could have teleported into this universe and is living out in this universe, and then he just blipped back. We don't know. You're right. It's very confusing, but it's best to not worry about it till we see Morbius. It's the only suggestion I can give. Once we see Morbius, if it's still confusing, then we can debate about it. But because that's the first thing me and Joel said when we left. I was just like, well, what was confusing was not only was the drawing on Morbius's wall Toby's suit, there is a banner on the bus that says Spider-Man disappeared. So I'm like, well, do they mean disappeared like the events of this movie? Like he disappeared, or disappeared like he's been gone for years? Yeah. I don't know. So I'm saying it's just best not to think about it till we absolutely have to. And that'll be sometime in January. I love this movie. Prime, I want to echo everything you said. If I had one issue, it was that they did not clearly show the suit that Joe has on his shirt at the end of that movie. Everything was so quick. I couldn't really just soak it in. You know what I'm saying? So I'm watching him flip around and I'm like, stay still. And then I thought I was going to get like a still shot of him, but he dives down at us. And I'm like, God, why? Like, I just wanted to get a better look at the suit.
If you pause that scene, though, when he's diving, you see Kate Bishop and Hawkeye at the bottom in the ice rink. I'm telling you, it's the same timeline.
And Mephisto is
Do not confuse people.
It is definitely the same. After seeing it a second time, it is definitely without a doubt. You're not going to see Spider-Man in the finale. I'm not saying that, but I really do think that when he is flying around near Rockefeller, because he jumps off 30 Rock, I think that's around the same time that at Hawkeye and Kate Bishop are in.
We did see the musical thing on the.
But it's not as cold. But it's not as cold.
Christmas.
It's not.
It's Christmas.
No, go ahead, T. Your point, T. I was just about to make. Go ahead and make your point about.
Oh, he was snowing.
Well, it's not at the end, at the very end, but during the movie, it wasn't snowing. He's wearing. There's at one point where they're on the bridge and it's bright it's sunny, and he's wearing like a suit.
I'm literally just saying the end scene. That's Christmas. That's around Christmas. There's Christmas decorations, the trees up.
I get you, but we do know from the time of November through February, it happens to snow. So I do
with
think
the Rockefeller tree up though.
No, but I do think we want it to connect, and I think they did it to show us like, hey, look, this could have been a day or 2 days after, 2 days before. Who knows?
I think they lined it up for a reason.
Put that out there. Someone's gonna try to look for that Wednesday and be disappointed.
I'm gonna see. You're gonna see people.
I think it's. I think it was done to be more so tongue in cheek than anything else. But yeah, I love this. I had absolutely no problems with this movie. Willem Dafoe. First of all, Willem Dafoe asking to do his own stunts in this movie was beautiful.
Yeah,
but his performance was just bone chilling. Whether it was the line from Spider-Man 1, well,
that was great.
I'm a scientist myself. Oh, yes, please.
I'm sorry though. I laughed so hard at
the
that.
whole theater laughed.
Just because it's like the meme. It's not even the line. It's just the meme. As someone of a scientist.
By the way, not enough people are talking about this. We got the Spider-Man meme in this movie.
Yep.
And no one talks about it enough.
Oh, yeah.
Like, hey, Peter. And he's like, you mean him? And it's just like, yes, you did it. That's awesome. Yeah. But no, his performance was so bone chilling, especially on the bridge after Peter stops Doc Ock and you get the bomb rolling in and you just hear, can Spider... No, that was at the end. I'm sorry. At the end where he goes, can Spider-Man come out? It's just, Willem. Oh, I love him so much. But I do want to talk about Peter's Spidey sense, and I love that they refuse to call it Spidey sense. They've kind of gone against the grain in this entire movie. Which, by the way, did anyone else find it funny that he said Peter Tingle and the other two Spider-Men knew what it meant?
Yep.
if they had called it Peter Tingle at some point, like I got this Peter Tingle. And it's like, why would you call it that? Like,
it'd be really interesting. It's like if this whole time we're so used to the Peter Tingle and never getting Spidey sense, but when they introduce Miles, he says something about his Spidey sense. I think that would be very unexpected, and people would appreciate that.
It can't be Peter Tingle. It would have to be Miles Tingle. But
Peter Tingle.
I agree with you. I was just thinking that too. Maybe Miles is the one that says it.
That could be what they're setting up.
I hope so.
I love so much about this movie, even the subtleties. Like, first of all, this movie got my anxiety up, and I wasn't expecting that from a Spider-Man movie. When they're in the kitchen and he fixes Doc Ock, and then he's just like, wait a minute. And then everyone's just like, what is wrong with this kid? And he's like, May, like, back up. And May's just like, what the fuck? And then he just whips Norman, and I'm just like, bro, my heart was gonna explode. I didn't know what was about to happen. I'm like, someone didn't come crashing through the window. Like, what's happening here?
Did you catch what May was doing when he was doing that?
Besides just trying to hide out? No.
No. Before she starts hiding out, when she first comes down after he starts getting his little his sense.
Mm-hmm.
She's clearing the house out with the negative energy. She's using Sage.
Sage.
Yeah.
She would.
That May was the freaking best. But no, I love her. I can't get enough. And the theater went bananas. By the way, can I just say, shout out to John Watts and that writing team. How they made the two Spider-Men appear meant everything.
I didn't see that coming.
Because I thought it was going to be something small, like Peter is down and out. They're destroying him, and out of nowhere, Strange brings the two other Spider-Men, and then it's like, boom, now let's even the odds. I didn't think we'd get it that far out.
Nope.
So when Ned's sitting there and he's just like, show me Peter, and then it's just like it opens, and then you see from a distance. I didn't squint my eyes once because I'm like, that's not Tom. Like, who is that's not Tom? And then
my whole theater knew.
I sat up. I was like, "Oh no, that's not him. Hold on, which one is it?"
My whole theater like freaked out. This one girl was like, "Oh, it's," and then as soon as he came in, it's like, and so as soon as you got Andrew, you knew you were getting Toby.
You knew you were getting
100%.
I didn't think we would. So this whole time coming into this movie, I didn't think we would get him the way we got him. I thought they'd probably be in the middle of a battle or something, and and Andrew's out there fighting in some kind of way. One of them gets, transported, in the middle of the fight, and like who are you, and and they keep on fighting, and somewhere, 2 or 3 minutes later, something else happens, whatever, and then the other one gets transported in, and they're all in there fighting, fighting these villains, not really sure what's going on, and they're seeing each other. That's how I thought we would get them. But yeah, that was definitely pretty cool. But I will say, I did like the way Ned brought him in, and I'm also glad. I want to thank them for not making Ned the Hobgoblin. All right, because I kind of like the whole Doctor Strange thing. We were definitely going to see him, but I thought that was pretty cool how they played that. But yeah, I'm kind of glad they didn't make him the Hobgoblin, because this whole time when we're talking about all this emotional stuff, in my mind, I'm sitting, weeks coming into this, I'm like, man, please just tell me they're gonna ask my man Ned out, like that's what I was thinking. He'd probably be the one. He might be one of the people that might not make it.
I thought when Ned got dropped down from the cloak, I thought when Peter was fighting Goblin was gonna bring Ned in as Peter was gonna stab Norman and stab Ned by accident. And flood Ned to make him more the Goblin from the Ultimate Universe. Yeah. And I was gonna say, oh no, that would just be like, that's just too much. Like how much are you gonna break this character down in one movie? No. So I'm glad they didn't go that route. But man, they delivered this movie. They delivered with emotion, and that's what I loved. That's what I really, really, really loved about this movie is that yes, it's a superhero movie, but it wanted to show you the emotional side of a story. And I appreciated every moment of it. Like I'm about to cry just thinking about that Andrew Garfield scene. Him saving MJ isn't what made me cry. Once he landed and she's like, are you okay? And he's crying because he's just like, you don't know what happened to mine, but you're lucky I learned my lesson from it. Because you just have to assume he's replayed that moment in his head a million times since she died. And he's just like, if I ever got to save somebody falling down, I'm going to grab him. No webs. I'm going to grab him. So yeah, I agree with you, Prime. Andrew Garfield stole the show for me. He really, 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 truly did.
Gotcha.
Because it just reminded you of all the things you liked about his Spider-Man.
Yeah.
You loved the humor. You loved the quirkiness. I even love when he's asking Toby, like, how does it come out of you? And he's just like, are you making fun of me? And he's like, no, it's just we can't do that. So like,
I did love that they kept that in as Toby's, right? And it was like I don't know. I'm not like a comic reader, but in that sense, I always felt like that was the superior like way. I was like, oh, that makes sense. That's cool. He doesn't have to like manufacture it. I also liked how Andrews asked Toby if he was going into the fight dressed as like a school teacher or something. And Toby's like,
he's like,
I'm an expert here.
I stay strapped. What? I got it on my wrist.
I got you.
I do want to say two things that I noticed in this movie I couldn't stop laughing about. It's the first one. Where was Tom keeping that phone when him and Zendaya went on top of that crane and he just pulled the phone out? Where was that phone?
You know where it was.
You know where it was. That's where I'm thinking it is. Where he's just like, all right, yeah. Hey, Ned, what? It's like, ew, where did you get that from?
That's why he put it on speaker.
But he didn't have to put it on his face. And then I'm like, where did Spider-Man get his mask from? Like, where'd you pull it out?
You guys have never seen the yoga pants that has pockets on the side? It's clearly what's going on.
There was no pockets. There was no pockets, man. There was either a kangaroo pouch or something else more nefarious going on there. But no, I truly did love this movie. It was so much fun. And look, Tom Holland, man, I can't stress enough why this movie was important, because I'm so sick of people saying, well, of course, Tom Spider-Man gets it because he has the Avengers and the lore of the MCU. And I love how John Watts said, oh, no, I heard all that BS you were talking. So how about this? How about he has none of that anymore? None of it. No money, no resources, no friends, nothing. He's back against the wall, and he's just as alone as the two guys that left him. How about that? Take that.
Yeah, but now we need another movie. But we're not going to get that payoff until we see him in another movie.
You can tell me that movie comes 10 years from now and it's worth the wait.
I can tell you,
because he's now the Spider-Man everybody's been crying about him to be. So I thought
it was hilarious when he was like, we can call the Avengers, and Toby's like, yeah, that's great, let's do that. Who are the Avengers? And I was like, and you sit there and you're like, that's right, they don't exist.
To be fair though, Doctor Strange exists in Tobey Maguire's world.
So yeah, maybe they just haven't been established yet.
No, remember he was mentioned by name. Remember when Doc Ock came? Jameson was trying to think of a name, and he's like, Dr. Octopus? Nah, that's lame. And he's like, what about Doctor Strange? And he's like, perfect, but it's already been taken. It's like,
that's right.
Well, that's why I thought it was such a letdown that when Toby saw Doctor Strange, it wasn't kind of just like, I've seen someone like you before, and so we would know, like, oh, wait, what? An Avenger exists in your
but they can't say that, because all of the OD Sam Raimi fans would just be like, see, we're getting Spider-Man 4. It's like, no, we're not. This was your chance.
There's one thing I learned, Tia, the first thing people said when this movie ended was, they're coming back. And I'm just like, this is why you guys can't have nice things. This is why I say
it's like, just appreciate it for the movie. You guys
can't have nice things.
Whoa. But what's the difference between us saying that, which I honestly think is going to happen? They even said it probably might happen in Secret Wars, the two of them. What's the difference between saying that and you literally just saying that Andrew Garfield's coming back?
Well, the difference is Tobey Maguire had a 3 full arc, right? You can make an argument 2 out of those 3 were phenomenal.
Right.
Garfield 100% was screwed on his second, and then not.
So who would you rather back?
I'd rather Andrew Garfield back. No. I don't want anything else from Tobey Maguire.
That's silly.
Not everything.
That's silly. Tobey Maguire is the most loved. Tobey Maguire got the biggest ovation.
Not
when
after
he
this
was on
movie. Not
screen.
after this movie.
Not after this movie, my brother.
What do you mean after this
But
movie?
This movie, only 2 names are being mentioned. It
If
was
anything,
more Andrew.
This movie made me miss Tobey Maguire even more.
Can I
fair.
tell you?
I did not.
I've never.
I got fulfilled.
I've never even seen. I will say this with my whole heart. I have never seen either Amazing Spider-Man 1 or 2, and I watched this and I was like, man, I get it why people really like this guy as Spider-Man.
Well, no, and I was going to say that too.
They like the guy, they don't like the movie.
This made me
Yeah, but
appreciate Andrew Garfield a lot.
Here's the thing. I compared Tobey Maguire to Patrick Stewart. I've gotten a lot of you. I don't need you to come back more than just a cameo. I don't need you back. There's other new people that didn't get the longevity that I would like to have longevity.
I'm not saying I need a Spider-Man 4. No, I'm saying that I'm talking about other cameos.
No, but that's
no. I don't ever. Here's the thing: if Andrew Garfield never gets another movie, I don't need to see any of them again ever as a cameo. I have.
But that's what I'm saying. You'll have people now who actually want a Spider-Man 4 with Tobey Maguire. That's what I mean. I could totally understand like wanting more cameos. That would be cool, especially maybe in the Venom universe or something. But like realistically, you're never going to get that 4th Spider-Man, and you're probably never going to get that 3rd Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah, to me, there's just too many Spider people.
I don't need either or.
Or bring in, not create. You could bring in. I don't need his 4th. I don't need Andrew's 3rd.
No. I was just saying that there were rumors of them possibly the 2 of them being in Secret Wars or something like that.
I don't know. I don't know. It depends. It depends if Multiverse of Madness gives us our X-Men crossovers. I don't want to see any more of these Spider-Men or any more of the X-Men. I want new X-Men by new actors, and I want Miles, Silk, Spider-Gwen, Spider-Uncle Ben. I want new Spider-Man. I don't want the same old. I have Peter. Why'd you keep giving me more Peter? I got Peter. You know what I'm saying? They don't give me more Peter. Give me someone else. But yeah, I enjoyed it. And last thing I'll say, that Matt Murdock scene, brilliant, banging the cane, showing that beautiful face of his.
Absolutely perfect.
When he catches that rock, the only thing that made him catching that cool is that Peter's hand was right behind it, ready to catch it. And he's just like, well, I have Spidey sense. How the hell did you catch that? Like, what is happening with you over there?
He's a really good lawyer.
And I
think that explains that.
And I love, like, so a lot of, and I won't go too into it because it's not my turn yet, but like a lot of the beginning like felt a little like boom, 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 boom. But I like that they at least like paused on that scene so that you as the audience could really see Peter Parker's expression, like, and I love that. That.
And very shocking, because I didn't even think about this, because obviously it never came up anywhere, but it makes total sense. Wong being the Sorcerer Supreme.
Yeah.
Because I did think it's so weird that Wong was at the end of Shang-Chi, because I'm like, well, where is, I thought that was more so representation than anything else. So I was like, okay, I didn't really think anything of it. But now it makes sense that that's why he's the Sorcerer Supreme. He's a Sorcerer Supreme.
And it's such a great explanation. We don't need any more than that.
No,
Doctor Strange was blipped out for 5 years.
Yep. First thing I thought was it has to be the equivalent to when your parent leaves and they're like, all right, he's in charge. And you're just like, he's in charge? What? I'm older. And it's like, yeah, but he's more mature. And it's like, I don't understand this. I don't get it. So this was kind of just like, well, Wong gets it because he was here. And it's like, I didn't just leave. I got blipped. Like, that's a technicality. Like, we should be able to fight for it back. But Strange is just, I don't care. He's just, you could have it.
Well, not for nothing. After this movie, Doctor Strange proved that he doesn't deserve to be the Sorcerer Supreme. So,
if anything, he proves that he does deserve it because he did it to help Peter. He did it to help Peter.
He did.
So
I'm not going to get into.
So
it
is
right
the
now.
Dark Hole talking about Wong then?
Is the
Dark Hole talking about Wong?
What do you mean?
When it said about she's more powerful than the Sorcerer Supreme, they're talking about.
Well,
Wong?
it depends. It depends. I don't know if she knew who the Sorcerer Supreme at that time was. That's why, if you notice, she didn't say Doctor Strange. She just said the Sorcerer Supreme. So whoever the hell
could just mean like like any Sorcerer Supreme,
whoever the title is. But I wonder if that would have still.
I needed to be power based, not title like that. I need like.
Oh no, you can't.
Does that mean Wong is the most powerful right now? Like, what does that title mean?
It's just a title. It's just a title. It's like principle.
Power. Okay.
You'll never get that. But one thing I do want from Doctor Strange more is him saying his spells. That's the one thing we don't have that I'm dying for. Like when he says the winds of Watum, like I want more of that. Like what spell are you using? Don't just use spells. What is it? Like what is that?
The runes of Kefkal.
Yeah, like give me something. You know what I'm saying? Don't just.
At least it was runes. Let's be happy he used something else.
Runes.
Something new.
That's and Trayvon, I thought of you, and see, I'm gonna pass this to you now, but I thought of you, Trayvon, when we get the Doctor Strange trailer and he shows up to Wanda and she's just like, look, it was a mistake, dog. I'm sorry. And he's just like, I don't care about any of that. Like, I need you for something else. And she's just like, okay, what can I do for you?
I know Wanda just got away with like enslaving a whole town.
She could have beat
like
his ass.
As soon as he
showed up,
she just was like, what? And you just
like, I wanted her to transform.
Like, what'd you say?
I want her to transform so she saw him. Like, what do you want? Like that. I'm worried about what? What are you here for me for? What?
Like Strange is just like, all right. Like Strange was just like, all right, first of all I said was your name. Like I didn't even like yell at you. I just said Wanda.
I would admit she was very
he's like I brought a care basket and everything.
Yeah, I thought she was a little bit more. I felt like she was a little more easygoing than should be with him showing up. For me, I felt like I would have been scared. Like, why are you here? What do you want from me?
First of all, Trayvon,
they did save the world together.
If someone told me I was stronger than my dad, and then he walked in the room with the belt, I'd feel just as calm as she was. Like, what? I'm stronger than you. I'm not scared. So if someone told her that, hey, you're stronger than whoever is the Sorcerer Supreme, I would have a bit of confidence too. Like, all right, like, what you want? Like, okay, all right, you better just be asking for help. I'll whoop your ass out here, Doctor Strange. All right, Tia, I'm gonna pass it to you. We do have a comment that I did want to talk about, and I'm gonna pass it to you. Then you can give your thoughts, Tia.
Mm-hmm.
But we got a comment from A Train. He says this movie was pretty bad, guys. Not gonna lie, there was absolutely way too much unnecessary fan service that convoluted the plot and made everything messy.
Interesting.
I personally
agree.
I don't understand that, but if you agree, please go ahead, Tia.
Okay, so I definitely do think that there was way too much fan service. It's like I understand fan service, but when does fan service get in the way of kind of like plot devices and everything? The number one fan service moment I can think of in the movie, and I will be straight up, I hated this scene, was Aunt May dying. I get it that she is with great power comes responsibility. We saw Uncle Ben die, but the whole reason, like in the previous Spider-Man, but the whole reason why we praise this Spider-Man was, oh look, we don't have to see a loved one die, aka Uncle Ben, and then you just get Aunt May to die unnecessarily. Aunt May was also very weird in this, like her very much insisting that Peter help these people. I thought that the scene of all of the villains in Happy's apartment was awkward as hell. It spent way too much time on that and all that. And I disliked Aunt May dying. I disliked a lot of the pauses in the movie. I disliked because it was like, see, we got them in. Aren't you excited about that? Just too many of the scenes that were fan service scenes, which would have for me hit a little better, lasted too long, and it disrupted a lot of the flow. I feel like that movie could have been at least a half hour shorter if they had cut out the fan service. To me, it was like we get this movie, and it feels as if they just needed this to open up for the multiverse, because, and you guys can say, it's just my opinion, everyone can say what they will and everything. I understand that this is within Doctor Strange's like attitude, that he just likes being smug about stuff, but as an actor with Benedict Cumberbatch, I thought that he played Doctor Strange extremely weird. I found all of his motive with Peter completely out of character. And to me, it just felt like they needed an excuse to do this so that they could lead into the multiverse of madness. And it would have just been interesting if the pandemic hadn't hit and how they would have rearranged everything. So yeah, I agree with our commenter.
Well, Doctor Strange would have been out first if not for COVID. It would have been out before Spider-Man. Spider-Man's villain would have been Kraven. But the reason why again, that's your opinion. I respect it. So I'm not arguing it. But fan service also would be showing you Matt Murdock. That was fan service.
And I understand, but it was a quick scene. It was extremely quick. And we got it. That was the fan service.
Go ahead. No, I'm sorry.
It's not like I dislike fan service. I love fan service. But when it like pauses, like Matt Murdock's fan service makes sense. Peter Parker is in trouble. He could be going to court. He needs a lawyer. Personally, I would have loved an actual court scene, but that's neither here nor there. It's just, I don't know. I felt like Doctor Strange was really out of character for all of this. It's like, you're supposed to be like, I know he's not the Sorcerer Supreme, but you're supposed to be like actually intelligent and responsible, and you shouldn't just like do a spell that is clearly this easy to mess up just because someone comes up to you and goes, hey, can you make sure everyone forgets me? It's like, no, sorry, dude. Things are a little bit more important than that.
Yeah, no, I don't think it was. Yeah, I don't think it was that simple. I think it was as simple as, because Strange even said, like, all right, you want MJ to remember. All right, you want Aunt May to remember. Cool. And then he goes, well, everyone. And it's in the flow of trying to contain it. So when he's adding more, it's making it unstable. But when he used it before, it was just as simple as like, blah, 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 boom, done. So to me, I still defend Strange. That was the first thing I said to Joel when we left. And I'm just like, well, this makes a lot more sense now because A, Strange felt sorry for him. Remember, his answer was no. It was no, I'm not going to do it. And then he was just like, all right, I'm so sorry for bothering you. And then he remembers this is just a child. This isn't a 30, 40-year-old man that should know the consequences of his actions. It's a kid that got thrusted into this. I think we keep forgetting Spider-Man only got into this because Stark went and got a child to help him in a war against other adults.
I understand that. It's
Strange not wanting this child to have to live with the consequences of something he truly didn't understand when he joined. Go ahead, Prom.
I just want to say real quick, and I get it, what they're saying as far as the fan service, but it's kind of like, I mean, do you draw the line? Because this is supposed to be the sort of the culmination of a lot of things.
Everything.
All right. And so if you're going to include the culmination of everything that we saw in the movies, also you got to show some love to your comic book people, your comic book heads. We understand that everybody's not a comic book head. I get it. It's cool with it, respect it. But if you know, and I'm sure Joe knows this, like if you know anything, a lot about Spider-Man, a lot of his, stuff in the comic books, it was some pretty sad stuff, man. Like a lot of people died. Aunt May did die. Ben did die. Ned died. Norman Osborn died. His closest friend on the police force, Gene DeWolf, died. That was Spider-Man. So if you're gonna show love to Spider-Man, show it in his wholeness. That's what
I appreciate.
I just wasn't expecting that sad of. To me, I cried when Aunt May died. I hated that. I still hate that. And I hate that now everyone forgot. Like, to me, it's like, I don't like that. I don't like that in anything that I watched. Amnesia shit. I know it's not amnesia, but, similar where it's like, I hate that where this one character has to walk around and like no one remembers who he is. And so it's like, and I know it didn't erase everything that we went through, but it's like now that I think about it, it's like everything that we see Tom Holland have gone through, all his happy moments and memories. I'm like, oh, but none of those people remember now or anything. And now he has to live this sad little life in his sad little apartment.
It was a weird choice for a third film in a trilogy.
Right.
It is. It's not an arc. It's not an arc.
No, I felt very unsatisfied at the end of that movie.
The reason why it was an arc is, again, I think we keep forgetting this is a universe Feige built unlike anything in the comics. And what I mean by that is no one should have made their identities known. No one. And the one person you should have never expose the identity of is the one child you have part of your Avengers team. So you did it, and now this is you saying, you know what? Not the smartest thing to do, because now if I keep it, now how will anything else make sense if a villain comes into town and says, well, I know who Peter Parker is. Just go there, kill him, kill Aunt May.
The first spell.
Kill Happy.
That's why the first spell should have happened, and then that was it.
So, but yeah, if he didn't mess it up. So that's why I appreciate that they said, you know what? It's best if they only know Spider-Man. No one knows his identity like it's supposed to be. That's the one thing Peter Parker has. It's the only thing he holds on to, is that no one knows who he is. If you do, then what is all this like? What is all this for? I can just show up to your house.
Well,
so
his villains.
Well, I mean, you can make that argument about every. You can make that argument about every single character in the MCU.
Trust me, I do.
Knock up on their door.
And we saw that in Iron Man 3. He said, "Come to my house," and he said, "Bet. What time? I'll be there."
In the comics, his villains find out who he is. In the comics, the villains find out who he is.
Do you remember though how that all changed? The whole movie that we just went through. That was the whole premise of that comic. Of the whole Mephisto showing up and Mephisto giving him his whole life back.
Yeah. At the cost of Aunt May.
So when the villains found out, what was the first thing they did? They knocked on his door.
Right.
You can't sustain a comic arc knowing
and it was the cost of Aunt May as well in that comic.
That's my point. So what I'm saying is you couldn't have had Stark be the Uncle Ben of Peter's life. You couldn't end it that way. You just can't. So the only thing to do is to retcon it and say, well, since I didn't introduce Uncle Ben, because everybody cries about not wanting to keep seeing Uncle Ben die, so then this is what you get. You get Aunt May die. People don't like that.
And I didn't like that because I also
didn't just bypass that. They bypassed the whole origin story.
I also want
because people keep crying, they don't want to keep seeing it. So
I also wanted Happy and Aunt May to get back together. I just like
that wasn't going to happen. That was a
and
weird
the reboot was so close.
I should do Happy like that, man.
Amazing Spider-Man.
I know. Why
Wait, what did you say, Trayvon?
The disrespect of Happy. Sorry.
I was saying people would have complained anyway because this reboot was so close to Amazing Spider-Man ending.
That's what I'm saying. So that's why I said people don't. Yeah,
that's why they did it.
I'm a firm believer that people really don't know what they want. Because when they say, hey, I don't want to keep seeing Uncle Ben die. And then the MCU's like, okay, cool, no problem. No Uncle Ben. I'll have Aunt May die. And they're just like, well, that kind of feels not non-organic because it's like, well, you didn't really set it up. And it's like, well, I set it up the same way I would have Uncle Ben. She's instrumental. You have to have that divisive piece that pushes him to be Spider-Man. That's what it was. That's all she served in this movie. But she was consistent because what you were saying, Tia, about her just kind of like, you got to help people. She was consistent in that. Think about it. If when she found out he was Spider-Man, she didn't go against it. She went with it because she believed in what he was doing. So it makes total sense that she says, well, you can't just not help someone because you don't want to. That's not what
I just feel like I would be a little smarter and not let all of these psychopaths from other universes who are well established as villains into my home. Like
but they weren't well established. She had only seen Doc Ock on the news. And Peter had that under control. Remember, these villains don't exist in this world. So to her,
I just wouldn't let a dude with mechanical arms in my home. I'm just saying.
Fair. I did. That's fair. But if my nephew was Spider-Man, I would
made of mud.
I would ride on that. I would ride on my nephew.
I did
for the cleanliness alone.
Yeah, I did think it was you know, I like to use the word naive. It was a little naive for him to bring them.
I think you should help
people.
His home. What do you think? What did Dr. Strange say you should do? Oh, he said I should just send them back because it'll ruin things if we keep them. Okay, well maybe you should go with what Dr. Strange says because he might know a little bit more than a kid does.
Yeah.
One thing for me
that goes against the whole grain of things because you would assume if you're Uncle Ben and someone just shot you, the first thing you'd say wouldn't be, Peter, don't go with the anger. Forgive. But what does Uncle Ben do? Don't go with the anger, Peter. Forgive. So we've seen both Uncle Ben and Aunt May be very naive in situations where maybe a realistic person would have went.
Well, I guess they were perfect for each other.
Oh,
they both died dumb.
Make that case 100%.
Also, I remember we were talking about, you know, you're mad about Aunt May dying, but it's like if Tony Stark had said that line, "Great power and great responsibility,"
he would have hated.
He died. They would have been pissed.
Yeah.
So it's just like they already called him like Iron Boy and everything else. So it's like now the Iron Suit is gone. Now
other people said that. I had no problem. I had no problem with any of that.
I think they're trying to find some kind of medium, some kind of middle ground. Like
my issue with that was if you go back to Far From Home, what was Peter's whole problem in that movie? He was trying to be someone he's not.
Yeah, but
you needed the adversity to make him. Because think about it, in Tobey's Spider-Man, him launching into being Spider-Man only happened because of Ben's death. Right? Peter throughout this movie kept saying, it's not my problem. I don't care. Send them back. Let me go on about my life. And May kept saying, it is your problem now. This is a mess of your making. You have to clean it. That's the same thing, the whole lesson of Uncle Ben's death.
I think we're arguing about the wrong thing though. Because I don't know, I'm probably in the minority here, but like his origin story, I was just under the assumption, maybe naive, that whatever Ben told him, especially that line, was delivered off screen. How did I know that it was never said by Uncle Ben?
Exactly. I didn't need any of that.
I didn't need that line to come about. I didn't say, well, I hope so-and-so delivers this line.
It's like Jesus. They never
to Peter Parker. They
never said with great power comes great responsibility. It's like we've all seen that. We've all heard that.
That line is what made Spider-Man.
But he's been
not in the MCU though. That's not in the MCU.
But to me, it's instrumental. Any Spider-Man you give me. Like when we get a Miles live action, guess what? His dad's gonna die. And that's gonna thrust him to wanting to be Spider-Man.
Really quick though. One of the things I did want to say in my thing, I'm not gonna, because I got a whole bunch, but one of the things I do want to say is the difference between Tom's Spider-Man and Tobey and Andrew's is Tom's Spider-Man has the weight of the MCU on its shoulders. Everything is cuckold to what happens in the MCU because everything's tied in. We don't need that line because he's already been in space. He's already been established. I know he's still a kid, but we forget that he's fought wars galactically. He doesn't need this to define who Spider-Man is.
And he actually
literally helped him define who he is. Right. We don't need that. In this version of Spider-Man.
But that's why I'm saying fan service getting in the way. It's like we're simply
that's not fan
He's not your neighborhood Spider-Man. Tom Holland Spider-Man is not your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Now he is.
He's not. He's fighting battles in space. He is not.
Now he is
because nobody knows who he is.
That was the whole point. It's the whole point
to
break him down to build him back up.
So you give him 3 films, and now you're going to make him the neighborhood, friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Are we going to still have him in the Avengers? Because the whole complaint about Tobey and Andrew's Spider-Man was, oh, but the Avengers and everything. Now we have a world with the Avengers and stuff, and it's like, nah, we don't want him part of the Avengers anymore.
That's not the case. The whole point is, though, Peter's focus is New York. Not the world, not space, not everything. We got him where his first priority was everything. So you needed to come back to a middle ground where you make him the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. And you had to strip him of everything because you've given him everything. He's had everything. He had Stark's money, Stark's resources, Stark's tech. Yep. He had the help of the Avengers. You have to strip it and then build the character back up from his core.
I just feel like
he can't be Spider-Man without that developing moment. What you guys essentially are saying is if we get a Batman movie, we don't need his parents to die.
No, we don't.
Dying is how he becomes Batman.
Well, first of all, I don't need to see his parents die, but that's neither here nor there. That could be in the background. My whole thing is that I feel like every Spider-Man movie in this MCU, we've had that defining moment. In Homecoming, it was when he decided to help Vulture. In Far From Home, it's the moment between him and Happy. It's like we've had these moments where Tom Holland's Spider-Man has defined himself. It's like I already thought he was defined, but I'm guessing there's people who didn't think he was defined.
But he wasn't. That's what he said to Happy in the plane. He said, "How can I be Stark?" That was him telling us, I thought I had to live up to being the next Iron Man. And Happy saying, that's not you. You're Spider-Man. Just focus on being Spider-Man.
But that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. To me, that was the moment. That's what I'm saying. That we had that moment. We didn't need to destroy the universe, essentially.
That wasn't his moment. That was just Happy telling him to get his focuses straight.
I understand. I understand the logic and everything of it, but I consume my movies almost primarily with how my emotion and feeling of. And when I was sitting in that theater consuming this movie, I just didn't feel any sort of like during that. It was more so like I'm bummed out. Now, I had a lot of great moments in the movie that I can point down and say that I absolutely loved, but that, as far as it just didn't make me walk away feeling good about it.
That's fair. I'm just saying, as far as going back to A-Train, as far as fan service, I've seen bad fan service. I've seen excessive fan service. I've seen unnecessary fan service. I don't think this movie warrants in any of that. Giving Chewie that medal that maybe like 2% of Star Wars fans remembers, that's ultimate fan service that was not needed in a movie. That had nothing to do with any of that. He wasn't even one of the primary characters in that movie. So you putting that on him, who did you think is sitting in the crowd like, I've been waiting for this moment for him to get this medal? Who the fuck cares? So in this, everything was instrumental because we've had so much from these OG Spider-Man that were left unresolved, that were major. The first thing I thought was, what did Andrew Garfield Spider-Man do after the events of that movie that we never got to see? What did Tobey do after extending his hand to MJ? So I loved when he goes, still not the greatest with MJ, like still figuring it out. I love that. I love Andrew saying, I went through a dark period where I didn't pull punches. Right. Yeah. I stopped pulling my punches. We don't know when that period is because the last thing we see is him just taking on Rhino. So it's like, well, after that, were you like killing people? So I'm like, these are a lot of dots that, yes, did we need? No. But in a movie that was clearly supposed to be the stairs of the MCU to get us to Doctor Strange, just like WandaVision was, that was a stair. This was a stair. And I appreciate once we get to the top of the stairs, which will be next May. So again, you making this movie into one big fan service, which it was beautiful because it capped off Peter's story, where he is now a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. He now has to do things on his own. He now has to only focus on being Spider-Man because the other part of him just doesn't matter. To me, that is the essence of Spider-Man, quite like it's the essence of Batman, where your only focus is being Batman. Bruce Wayne doesn't matter. Batman is the focus of this story. So I appreciate it. So now it means once we get more Spider-Man movies, that's our bottom line. Just him being Spider-Man.
You said Batman's defining moment was when his family gets killed, right?
Yeah, that's the only reason he became Batman.
But your equivalent, exactly. But that's becoming Batman. His defining moment was the fact that his parents died. So the equivalent of that is to have 3 Batman movies and then show his family dying.
Yeah.
That's exactly what they're doing here with No Way Home. It's like a reset.
And again, but what
I just
I'm
didn't think that Spider-Man was very moody.
I wouldn't have started my universe in the middle. I agree with you, but I'm saying I can't go back. I can't fix any of that. So because I can't, they decided his defining moment was now.
I didn't need to go back.
I didn't need it.
Well, I'm here, so
I was okay with the way the MCU treated it because at that point it didn't matter. Because, like you said, we had the events of Civil War. It was done. He was brought in too young because of Tony, right? We had the events of Endgame where he went to space. So he had to mature a lot older and a lot faster than Tom and Andrew did in their Toby and Andrew did in their respective Spider-Mans.
But hear what you're saying. He didn't. That's the point I'm trying to make to you.
What do you mean?
He didn't. In the last movie, what was the stupid thing he did? He gave the glasses away.
No.
He wasn't mature.
When I say mature, I'm not saying that he's mature into the fact where he's wiser. I'm just saying he had to become older than he really was too quickly. It's literally like being the youngest child and your parents dying and you had to, leave school or something like that to help out your mom because your dad, something like that. You know what I mean?
I get it, but that's why I'm saying
you grow up too soon, but you're still a kid.
This was necessary because this now is he's not a kid anymore. He's going off to he's doing his GED to go off to college.
Yeah,
he's a man now.
I know.
And now he has to be a man, which is you're paying your own bills, you're living on your own,
he's
and
an orphan.
You have to go be your own man.
Yeah.
And to me, this was perfect. This was perfect telling us He went from a baby to a teen, and now he's a grown-ass man. Now he sees that the world has consequences. You can't just do stupid stuff like giving the glasses away that a child would do. So this was about him maturing.
He was also manipulated, though. Let's be honest.
He was, but still, under no circumstances should he have given it away. But he needed the tutelage of those other two Spider-Men to get him to where he is now. And I think because seeing them, it did make for a better Peter Parker / Spider-Man. So again, it was needed. And again, as far as your point as Uncle Ben, he was so young. I think the story they're going for, because the writers of Homecoming did say they had no interest in using Uncle Ben ever. Mm-hmm. So in their minds, in their world, he was super young when Uncle Ben died. So it wasn't the robber coming, shooting him, Peter holding Uncle Ben in his hands. He never had that. That's why when they brought Tony in, that's his Uncle Ben, right? So then you get that, and then you go, well, I can't have Tony's last words be with great power comes great responsibility. That has to be somewhere, and he has to suffer a loss big enough for him to understand the moment he's in. And the only thing you could do, the only person you could do that to was Aunt May.
I think
I get it.
I think the point Joe and I are making, and we don't have to like continue on this anymore because honestly, talking about more actually bums me out more about it. We didn't need, at least for me, I didn't need with great power comes great responsibility. That was in the background. To me, what the MCU was doing with Spider-Man was new. I saw the Tobey Maguire didn't need all that again. And then it's like, oh, but let's regurgitate now, like in the end of the trilogy.
Just a line though, like nothing else was the same.
It wasn't just a line. Aunt May died. It's fine. I just didn't like it at all.
What did you hate more though? Did you hate the line or did you hate Aunt May died?
I hate Aunt May dying.
All right.
I also didn't like the line.
The thing is, I didn't mind the line. I like that they twisted it because
I was gonna say they twisted it, right?
I thought like I said, I assumed that it was said just off screen, just like his origin was off screen, because we didn't need that story. We didn't need that plot again. His origin, Uncle Ben saying whatever, and then him dying or whatever. Okay. So I just assumed it was off screen. But when she said that, I was like, oh, so she's going to be in this world.
Yeah.
She's going to be.
But you needed a death. They were either going to take her or MJ.
He had enough death in his life, to be honest
Jesus.
with you. He only lost Tony. What are we talking about?
And Uncle Ben. And Uncle Ben.
He was too young for Uncle Ben.
His parents?
Guys.
His parents,
yeah.
He was obviously too young for that if he was too young for Uncle Ben. I'm just saying he didn't suffer enough. We're in a world.
How old were his parents if Aunt May's looking like that? That's what I want to know.
Yeah.
That was the biggest problem, is that you killed off the fine aunt and kept all the old.
Yeah, exactly. Rosemary Harris is.
To me, he needed that loss, and he hasn't had it. Tony wasn't that loss. He loved Tony.
Yeah.
Nowhere near how much he loved Aunt May.
Well,
and he needed that loss. They were all I'm saying is, and then we can move on. They were either going to take May or MJ. You guys, you can pick, but they were going to take one of those two. There's a reason why they gave us that scene. One of them was finna die.
Yeah.
He had to lose somebody in this movie. You just can't do it and not lose anybody. Steve lost Peggy in his third movie. Everybody has to lose somebody that's that important.
She was 100-something years old.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. He lost her. He lost her. He lost the only other connection he had.
I know.
You had to strip somebody. Start same. You got to. It just has to happen.
I did want to, so moving on and everything, completely moving on. I did want to say that no one is mentioning how great Alfred Molina was in this movie. It's like, I get it. Well, it's like, I get it. Willem Dafoe, amazing. But Alfred Molina, to me, and that, I'm not trying to stay on the negatives or anything, but I personally didn't need, God, I forget his name, Lizard Dude and Sandman.
100%.
Didn't need either of them. Green Goblin, obviously, yes. Willem Dafoe, really loved how creepy he was. I want to say I wasn't ever really that creeped out in the Tobey Maguire movies about him, but totally creeped out in this one. Alfred Molina, loved the layers that he brought to that character. I mean, to me, that was just like, he just fit in so well. And then obviously Jamie Foxx's character was great. I loved his confidence and everything, especially how he's like, oh, I don't look the way I looked in my universe. I just want to because I don't want to take away from anyone else's turn. I just want to go quickly. To me, my two favorite cameos were obviously Matt Murdock. We talked about that, and Tom Hardy's. I actually wasn't expecting that. I really wasn't. So to me, I kind of loved that a lot. Whatchamacallit? And it's so funny because again, I've never seen either Amazing Spider-Man. And even I got like a little choked up when Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man caught MJ and they were just standing there for a second. He's like, "Are you okay?" And she's like, "Are you okay?" I think he acted that perfectly. All the little fun quips that we talked about were amazing. I liked when they realized that the three of them sucked at teamwork. I was like, "Oh, cool. I like this little powwow that you guys are having." And I liked how like Andrew and Toby's were just kind of like ridiculous, like especially that scene where Andrew like cracks his back.
That was great.
What was that?
That was great.
I love that. That was so good. So yeah, I definitely enjoyed seeing the both of them. I want to say I enjoyed Andrew's better than Toby's, which I know is sacrilege. Don't get me wrong, like seeing Toby's as well. It's just Andrew really like impressed me in this, especially the three of them hanging out. And like Joe, I want one of the leaks to be that scene so that we can pause and see who we can see in the rifts of time. So yeah, there you go.
Yeah. One of those was definitely Rhino. One of those was
Scorpion.
Alicia. One of those was Scorpion. I don't know. There's so many different ways they can go. They can actually do the Sinister Six.
I mean, I thought it was really funny how Andrews was like, "I'm so lame, guys. So lame. Like all I did was fight a dude with a rhino." And I like Toby's going, "Well, I fought someone made out of like goo." And I was like, I like that. This is so cool. The three of them were amazing. They really were. Yeah. It's cool that they even did it and that Toby even agreed, because I know that we had like a suspicion with Andrew in his interviews, but I mean, they weren't interviewing Toby at all. He was completely staying mum about things. So I thought that was impressive.
In a while though, right?
That's true. Yeah, Andrew
was true.
He was only bothered because he kept doing stuff, and they were just like, "Whoa, Spider-Man."
He had to know. He had to know. Like, come on, we're gonna ask you. Like,
of course.
Same thing like poor Ben Affleck still gets questions to this day.
He'll get them till he dies. It's something they'll always ask you about. Like, hey, all right, you're 90, but you want to be in the new Batman? And it's just like, what? Like, I'm ready to talk about my kids directing movies. What is this Batman stuff? But Joe, what were your thoughts on this movie? And I want to know your thoughts on that dope scene that no one really talks about enough because it happens so quick you can't really catch it. But the scene where they're all swinging together, and Holland Spider-Man gives one long thwip that they all thwip off of, so that they get the right amount of air to land all together. So
I loved it. And if I'm not mistaken, because I thought all three of them were going to kind of do like a pause because the moon was behind them. Right. But I think the only one that went directly over the moon, if I'm not mistaken, of the way they were placed, was Andrews.
Yeah. Because remember, one of his movies ended like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where he's jumping up at the screen and he like
and in slow motion.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love this film. And as I told A Train in the comments, if it wasn't for the fan service, I wouldn't have felt the way I did for this film. I think the story was a little weak. It could have been a little bit better. The plot devices that we used, how simple it was for them to come up with the cure at the end. And I get it. Peter Parker is brilliant. The three of them together, you would think that they would have come up with something quick, but it felt like it was a little too quick.
Real quick. Andrew had already developed a cure for Lizard.
Yes, Andrew makes sense because
they already. No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, Andrew and I was telling this to my friend Frank. Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man or Peter does come up with a cure. He cures Lizard at the end of the film. However, Lizard's pulled before that happens.
Right.
Yeah. So
he just had to duplicate it.
But Toby's didn't make sense to the point where Goblin had died, right? And his line in this film was, "I think I can make a serum, an anti-serum," whatever he says. "I've been thinking about it for a while."
Right.
I didn't understand the reason why he was thinking about it if Goblin had been dead.
Well, also remember, think about this. Osborn had two sides. So his normal side probably has always been thinking of a way to abolish the other side from existence.
Right. Yeah.
So it makes sense that that's probably always been on his mind, but he never could physically do it because the other side would come out and just destroy everything.
Yeah.
So it also makes sense that if you're Toby, you've been thinking it didn't have to end the way that it did. What if there was a way that I could have replicated to fix him? Again, you're thinking more. Let me not speak for you. I'm sorry.
No,
most people are probably thinking more so because we didn't really get it. Like, we didn't really have a scene where they were talking about it. It doesn't seem natural to just pop up here and go, well, yeah, A, B, C, here you go, done.
Right.
But it's probably more to that. And also, Sandman's fix is probably easier than we give credit for, because you probably just have to reverse what the machine did.
Yeah.
And the machine is probably something the three of them could easily put their heads together.
They knew,
So,
they already knew.
Either went this way, I'm just gonna make it go this way, and then we're good.
All right. It was done for plot. I get it. You know, I loved everything about the film except for some little things. But I did talk to you about this the first day the movie came out, or maybe the next day. And it was because it was something that was bothering me. Now, we all knew the villains we were getting. We all knew, and we just didn't know the context of what. We already knew Sandman, we knew Electro, we knew Goblin, and we knew Doc Ock, but we didn't know if there was going to be another one. Is this a Sinister Six? What's happening? What's going on? Then we find out in the film the exact wording of the spell, and that is everyone who knew Peter Parker was Spider-Man was to be summoned into this world.
Right.
Yep.
And I thought something right away. I looked up two characters. One was Flint Marko, because I really couldn't remember the end of Spider-Man 3, but it is. Then I looked up Electro.
Yeah.
And I told you this. Electro never knew Peter Parker was Spider-Man. He should have never been summoned in the first place. It's a huge plot hole.
Yeah.
A way to fix that plot hole is you're opening up a multiverse. There's a reason why he doesn't look exactly the way he did the last time we saw him.
Because he got upgraded.
But no, you don't look.
Well, that was the other thing. No, but
you don't
that
look
was
like that, just being upgraded.
Exactly. That was the other thing that I was talking to my friend about. He goes, well, didn't he go into the grid? Maybe the electricity and the power in this world is what gave him a boost. Because when we first see him, he's blue.
Because he was blue, yeah.
He was blue. So we're under the impression that is Max Dillon of Amazing Spider-Man 2. He was blue. He was in that form, but the electricity and the power of this universe is what transformed and upgraded him to the physical being. Because I was even saying, why does he look different as well? Not only was it a plot hole for him to be in the film, but then we get a totally different. My take on it was, we did Amazing Spider-Man 2 horribly with this character. We want to give him a better shot, especially with Jamie Foxx, who I love.
That's definitely what they did.
And we're going to make him look different. Yeah. And it doesn't even matter. And that's what bothers me. If you're going to look, you have a collective, whether it's one writer or a couple of writers, you're doing all of this research on whatever. How you drop the ball on a character like Electro to come back into this world when he didn't even know who Peter Parker was makes no sense.
Well, two things. One, he met Peter Parker before, never knew he was Spider-Man. That's the difference. Two, they had a formula that they couldn't break. And that formula was there's two villains from each of them. Right. So you get Sandman and Doc Ock. Goblin was because you just can't leave out Willem Dafoe. Right. So that was the extended. No. Spider-Man only had two legit villains because you're not going to duplicate Goblin. So it was only, you weren't going to bring Rhino back.
That's the thing. To date, Rhino and Max Dillon are the only two villains that do not know Peter Parker is Spider-Man.
Right. But they weren't just going to bring in Lizard from Andrew's world.
Right.
You needed to bring in someone else. So I think the loop was because what you're saying the spell was the spell, but I took it more so as anyone who knows Peter Parker, right? So if it was anyone who knows Peter Parker and that Peter Parker was Spider-Man, anyone who's met Peter Parker could come through that portal. So yes, is it a loophole? Sure, there were plenty in Spider-Man Civil War, which by the way,
did Eddie Brock
Venom did. Peter? That was the other thing too. I thought that was a stretch too, but that one line in the end credit scene for Venom, "Let There Be Carnage," right? With Venom saying,
But he saw him once that the world switched.
Right. But he was in this world now and he saw him. So he wasn't brought through because of the spell, is what I'm trying to say. I don't
how was he brought through?
No.
I don't know.
That is actually how he was brought through. So that's what I was about to say. So I originally said to myself, 2 characters should not have been in that film. And only because of plot hole. One was the big one, Electro, and 2 was Venom. But the loophole that they can do with Venom, and the reason why it was rectified with Venom, is the one line in the end credit scene where the symbiote telling Tom Hardy, billions of hive knowledge. I have so many things to tell you. So Venom is I'm assuming versed in other dimensions and other what do you call it, universes. So he might, the suit, not Tom Hardy, the suit might know who Peter Parker is. That's the only thing I could think. He was brought in for that reason. That's why the end credit scene happens. That's part of the spell. And that's why Venom is brought into
well, then if that's the case, then that doesn't even make sense, because
it doesn't. No, it don't.
Because if what you're saying of that doesn't make any sense, because the only knowledge he had was from when he blipped and then saw Spider-Man and Peter Parker on the television. There was no memory of that before. So you needed the scene of him watching them on TV for that.
He does, and it didn't make any sense at that point, but he does utter the words, "that guy," and then licks the screen. So it was showing us that Venom himself, the suit, knows who Spider-Man is. So that's why, again, that line wasn't a throwaway and "let there be carnage," the end credit scene. The fact that he says, "there's things I got to tell you that would blow your mind that I know." And I think that's what he was about. Well, not that's what he was going to say, but I think that was alluding to the fact that Venom, the symbiote, knows way more than obviously Tom Hardy knows. And that's the only thing, because that's the only way the end credit scene makes sense. Other than that, he doesn't belong there.
That's possible, but it's also possible calling yourself a lethal protector, hearing that the world you live in now has a mass murderer named Spider-Man. It could make Venom attracted to wanting to find him to take him down. That's all I'm saying.
So, but the link definitely says Peter Parker. It has to be something to do with Peter Parker as well. So there has to be general knowledge that Peter Parker and Spider-Man are the same. And that's the only thing I can think of. But again, I thought it was a stretch too. But I love seeing the cameo. I'm not going to... Prime, what were you going to say?
I was just saying, of course, it was 2 different Eddie Brocks, but in the... Well, I might say the original Eddie Brock, but the Tobey Maguire situation, he knew who that he was Spider-Man. He knew that Tobey was.
Right.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Like I said, there could be loopholes for sure. That's what the MCU is all about. They're all about, hey, you got a good movie. There's some things that maybe don't make sense, but it's because we're trying to blend 2 things that we weren't really expecting to have to blend together. You know what I'm saying? Clearly, this was Amy Pascal. Like, I want Venom in your universe somehow. You know, so it was kind of shoehorned.
There was one other thing that I wasn't happy about. I agree, but I also, and I was going to say with Tia, I do agree that Lizard and Sandman, especially Lizard especially, there was no point to have him in the film. I get it. You wanted each of the villains from each of the respective worlds. I get it. So throw him in there. But Lizard literally added nothing to the movie. There was nothing added by the character. That's why you could have done without him. Sandman, I didn't mind having in. I did like the fact, because I did say when the first trailer popped up that when we got that cloud of dirt that kind of looked like it was blocking him and Electro, I kind of felt that he was going to help out. I even said, wait a minute, why is Sandman in this film when why am I getting phone calls? Why is Sandman in this film when A, he doesn't die by the hand of Spider-Man, and B, they kind of left on good terms. So I'm glad they got that right off the bat. Oh no, I'm helping you. Oh, but you're not the same Peter, whatever. But the one problem I did have with Sandman, though, was the fact, and he did this in Spider-Man 3 as well, and I was just pissed off that he didn't do it in this. Why was he in sand form the whole time? Why didn't he alternate between the body form, especially when they were in the condo? Like, he was sitting on the couch. Again, it was a great gag. He was like, oh, I'm sorry, and he's brushing off whatever. But Flint Marko can alternate between being in his body form and in the sand form as well.
I think it was purely actor.
Also, I think it was unstable. I think he was unstable. I think being brought through maybe made him a little unstable. Couldn't control it, because that was the biggest issue when he first turned into Sandman in the movie, that he couldn't control it. So maybe there was some matter distribution that was off and he couldn't control it. So I mean, that's I guess what I would take it as. I mean, look, Lizard purely made no sense, because I don't know when you're saying you took Lizard, because if you're telling me you took him at any point at the end of the movie, he was already cured. So that means you went further earlier in the movie to pick him out. So
yeah. Because, and we even said this too before the movie came out. If you're pulling, because the line where Doc Ock or somebody said in one of the trailers that each of these guys died at the hands of Spider-Man, right?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, we realize, wait, Lizard never dies. He's in jail,
right?
And take care, Prime.
See you, bro.
What was the other one that didn't die? Oh, and Sandman. So that's why
two of them died though.
Yeah. Well, I already told you guys I noticed a McFarlane and graffiti. I'm sorry, guys. I'm just trying to read this. I said about the Sandman uniform. My only thing with the spell itself, and I understand without it we wouldn't have had a movie. So this is a small little gripe. But if he would have just said, I want it the way I just want it the way before Mysterio knew, or everybody that knew before Mysterio knew who I was, just put it at that. That's all you had to word it that way. And the other thing is too, if you really, really think about it, had the spell never been done, or the spell would have done the way that originally Strange was going to do, right? You got Ned wouldn't have known, MJ wouldn't have known, and May wouldn't have known, right? Having Aunt May not know is probably your best thing. You don't, if you're Spider-Man, you probably don't want that anyway. You don't want your aunt, you don't want people who love you knowing who you are, the number one. Number two, having Ned telling your best friend or retelling your best friend is not a big deal. Hey, Ned, by the way, I'm Spider-Man. Done. MJ probably would have found out again anyway.
Yeah, but they explained all that. He said right before he did the spell, Aunt May finding out before wasn't easy. I don't want to have to go through that again. And remember, this is now alternate time. So that means alternate can't be duplicated. So that means if Aunt May finds out again, maybe her reaction is not happy. Maybe her reaction is you can't be Spider-Man. If Ned finds out, maybe he's jealous. Maybe that creates envy. It wasn't going to be the same because you're altering history now by everyone not knowing. So it gets altered, not changed, altered. So it means you can't have the exact same outcome. It can't be, sure? Hey, Ned, I'm Spider-Man. And he's like, oh, that's awesome. Yeah, let's go. Like, no, there could be a breed of envy.
I think the Ned and MJ would have been fine, but telling Aunt May after an events of Endgame and everything else, maybe she'll be like, wait, you were doing all of that? Like, maybe then she would have been like, okay, you can't do this anymore. Like,
that's what I'm saying.
Maybe that, but other two should be fine.
The whole point is you're altering it. So I don't think you could have the exact same responses. And he just didn't want to have to go through all that. So it was, again.
And now he goes through something worse.
Yeah, that was the other thing too. The alternative was now nobody knows who Peter Parker is, and you'll just lose Rand.
But that was the whole point of the movie, was that he had to stop being selfish. He was only thinking of Peter. That's what Strange said. You want it all. You can't have it all. You can't. That was the whole point of Stark.
Can't have the double identity.
But once Stark revealed himself, Stark felt comfortable enough. I'm willing to take on whatever comes my way. I don't care. Peter's saying, well, damn, I still want to go to college. I want to date MJ. I want to hang out with Ned. And it's like, well, you can't have all of it.
I bet Tony regrets it now, though, that he has a kid. Like, if he was still around, but he regrets telling everybody that now. Like, probably kept it.
Telling everybody that he was Iron Man? No, because it's weird. He lived a very long time in peace, which is weird. So I don't know what happens to Stark villains. I don't know, but he lived a pretty sheltered and happy life after Iron Man 3. As far as his villains coming just knocking on the door. So yeah. But yeah, like I said, I appreciate what they did with the writing of this, because it took Peter realizing it's not about him. You have to do what's best for them, not for you. What's best for them. So I appreciated Strange telling him at the beginning, like, bro, your problem is you want everything. Nobody in life can have everything. It's why rich people tell us, hey, having money is not all that it's cracked up to be. And we're just like, well, we'd like to try. We'd like to try to have all that money and see if life can't get any better. But go ahead, Joe.
No, I just want to hit these beats really quick. I didn't see Aunt May's death coming. That was probably the only thing that was surprised in this film for me. I already knew Matt Murdock was going to be cameoed, and for some reason, I already knew what exactly that scene was going to be. I already knew about the brick coming through and him saying, I'm a really good lawyer. I do have a little quick, I don't know how exactly the charges would drop so easily, but I'm okay with that. That's just a stupid
only because you can't directly prove that he killed him. Because literally all Mysterio said was, Spider-Man killed me. And everyone was just like, I believe it.
Yeah.
What? There's no evidence of anything.
Yeah, but at the time of executing it, I mean, they were already stopped.
No,
so nobody's killed.
Right, but I'm saying it's just his voice saying it. Like, it doesn't show anyone killing him. So it's just, it's his word over yours. And since he's dead, he can't prove that you're lying. So I believe it. But remember, that wasn't Mysterio's goal. Mysterio's goal wasn't to get Peter arrested.
No,
and this is why the writing of John Watts and that team is so smart. Remember when Peter first meets Mysterio and he goes, you're a kid. And then Spider-Man is telling Fury, I can't help you. Like, I'm here on vacation with my friends. I want to hang out with them. I'm not trying to be Spider-Man. So Mysterio in that moment was just like, if you ever become a problem, I know just how to solve that problem. No one knows who you are. You know what I'm saying? No one knows who Spider-Man is. So that's why he concocted, I'll tell the world you're Spider-Man. So that was his plan. So for Mysterio, if he never went to jail, he didn't care. As long as everyone knew who Spider-Man was, he was okay with that.
Willem Dafoe and Alfred Molina, I thought, stole the show. I loved how brutal Green Goblin was in this film. I love the fights between him and Peter. I think I don't think he was really shown to be that brutal and that like just the way he was laughing hysterical when Peter was just raining down haymakers on him. He never showed that side of him in Toby's version of the film. That's why I really appreciated not only the reprisal of this character by Willem Dafoe, but the way he executed, and even Alfred Molina. I know Alfred Molina became the good guy towards the end, and he was always that kind of character as Doc Ock in Spider-Man 2. But he also, I loved his interactions with Peter, especially on the bridge. I know you guys like this because you brought it up earlier and you were okay with it, but I just don't know. Now, the whole sorcerer thing with Ned, is that something you think they're going to touch up on or maybe talk about or maybe even build on in future films? Or do you think that was just the way to get the other Spider-Men through the portal without Doctor Strange being in the mix? Because Doctor Strange obviously had to be off camera because of what these characters were doing.
I felt like they set it up well. Like from the beginning, he was like, my grandma
about the thing about the hands.
Tell we have magic in our family. Right. And they set it up well for him to, when he gets the ring, he gets a little spark when he hits Peter's hand.
Yep.
Like they give us a little like tease of it down the line. Then eventually he's playing with it. And it does.
I think it could be both. So I think it could be something. I think it could be something that they play with later down the line, and it also is just a plot device. I think it literally could go either left or right. It isn't something that just means nothing.
I just don't want that to happen. I want them to, if you're gonna go in and tease, he might have or might become a sorcerer or something like that. I'd much rather that than him being a new Goblin or Hobgoblin.
That would be very cool.
I wouldn't mind that. I just don't want it to be, oh, by the way, we just needed a character to
I hope Ned stays far away from becoming a goblin. But again, him utilizing some kind of magic could just be something that they play around with that, maybe somewhere down the line a Doctor Strange movie starts and you just see Ned there training and you're like, what the fuck? What is Ned doing here? Like, is he a sorcerer now?
Yeah.
And then the cape as well, remember?
And the cape.
Yeah, the cape too. Yeah. But we know the cape just chooses people. It chose Peter in What If. So it just chooses.
Helpful.
Right. Very helpful. So I think it could just be something that's more tongue in cheek.
And I love exactly how we got the guys, how we got Andrew and Toby in, And I love exactly how much screen time they have, because I really thought it was just going to be a cameo, or like everybody else was saying earlier in the review, they were going to just, at the very end when all hope was lost, or if, Peter or Tom's Peter was getting his ass kicked, and then all of a sudden they just come in to help at the end. I think we got the perfect amount of these two. I love the interaction between the three of them. As I said, I'm not really a fan of Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man movies, only because, to no fault of Andrew, it was just I wasn't crazy about the films itself. First one was good. The second one I think was my least favorite of all. But this film made me appreciate Andrew Garfield so much more. And I agree, he did stand out. Even though I favor Toby, he did stand out more in this film. And I knew from the trailer when MJ was falling, I said, there's no way they're going to go without redeeming Andrew's Peter, and he was going to save MJ from falling. And that scene alone. So I went to see the second time, I went to see it with my ex-girlfriend, and we watched Hawkeye. We got caught up on Hawkeye, but I also made her watch two things really quick. I wanted her to get a glimpse of Charlie Cox on the screen as Daredevil. I'm like, yeah, just watch. It's really quick. There's a series on Netflix that was on a few years ago. You see that guy? He's Daredevil. Ben Affleck played him in the film. I just watched. Look at his face. That was number one. And number two, I Googled I searched on YouTube really quick. Gwen Stacy's death. She never seen any of the Andrew Garfield films. So I was like, just watch this really quick. And she did. She goes, why are you making me watch this? I was like, I don't know. I haven't seen it in a while. If I wouldn't have shown her that scene, because she started crying in the Andrew Garfield scene, she turned to me. She goes, okay, now I know why you made me watch that. And just seeing that one clip of Gwen Stacy dying in The Amazing Spider-Man 2 and Andrew Garfield redeeming himself and saving him, and then just crying and tearing up, and Zendaya saying, MJ be like, are you okay? That was so powerful. And I didn't know how much I needed these three on the screen. Just the jokes, the web. We all knew that was going to come up. Wait, that comes out of your body? Is that the only place it comes out of? Love it. And then one of my favorite lines in the film, when he's like, look, I don't want to brag. Maybe I do. I was part of a team. I was the Avengers. And Toby's like, you were what? Really? What is that? And then Andrew's like, wait, were you in a band?
That was funny.
I loved it. Seriously, and if they're going to count that as fan service, I needed this. I needed the three of them. I did, and I loved it.
But my only issue with that, like I said, and I'm going to pass it to you, Trayvon, for you to give me your thoughts, and I'll go to you, Joel. Fan service is never a bad thing.
No.
The only thing that ruins fan service is the execution of said fan service. Because you're not going to tell me it wasn't fan service when he goes, my secret is I'm always angry.
Loved it.
Fan service. Because why? Because we just got that new actor of Hulk, right? So we're now just like, well, how much of that is still connected to this? And it's like, oh, he learned to kind of put a handle on it a little bit better, only for them to kind of have it go completely bonkers after. But anyway, the fan service of Cap saying Avengers Assemble, that's fan service. Avengers Endgame, the whole final act was fan service. So to me, fan service is never a problem. It's only a problem when you're giving me Chewbacca getting a medal in a movie that makes no fucking sense for you to show me him getting a medal. That's fan service that I don't need.
Yep.
This
I don't really know what you're talking about.
See, but I appreciate that, Trayvon. That's my point. No one really knows what that was about when she finally gave it to him. He's like, what is that? Oh, well, you don't know that not everybody got medals like in the original movies.
I knew, and I don't know. I didn't need it. I didn't. And I said this, and I don't want to talk about it, but I don't know why. I kind of choked up in that scene. I did. I told you this. I don't know why.
And look, I feel you, but I have
no idea why.
I have to believe there were more people that had no fucking idea what that was.
Oh, okay.
there just had to be people that's like, okay. Like when I saw it, me and Joel saw it together, I was just like, okay. Like, I think I was more. Go ahead, Joel.
No, I enjoyed a lot of the fan service in that movie, but that stood out like a sore thumb. I was like, well, that was weird. What was the point of that?
It was pointless. It really was.
Right, exactly, right.
It meant more to me because Carrier just died off screen or whatever, and then he gets the medal, and a lot of people always ask that question. I know I didn't. I mean, I was a kid when that came out, New Hope. But a lot of people was like, well, why the hell didn't Chewie get a medal? He was part of it too, but
it's because of racism, obviously.
Yeah, it's 100%. But it does lend to what would have made that make more sense is if you ended the movie with these new characters getting medals. And then he goes to walk by Chewie and then comes back and goes, nah, here you go. And then we go, okay, good.
There we go.
But you just randomly giving him a medal. I know there are people in the theater like, I don't know what this is.
For what? This is yours.
What did he do? And
Well, I was under the impression that the reason the whole big thing with the whole medal thing was because that was Han's medal. Because she was giving it, yeah.
Is that what that was?
And he was
it was Han's medal, but she was saying instead of just like throwing it away or giving it, like, I'll give you this medal that you never got.
Yeah.
Like, I know a lot of people were thinking she just had a spare medal. Like, no, that was
you didn't earn this medal. By the way, you didn't earn this medal. Here you go.
Yeah, it wasn't clear, Joel. But it's a fucking movie. But to loop it back, Trayvon, what were your thoughts on Spider-Man No Way Home?
I had a great time with this movie. So I'll just start, get to the end real quick. So for me, I really loved the movie. I understood why they did the ending after saw it twice, and I started thinking about how depressing his life is now. I thought that was really sad. I was like, it's kind of like, yes, the movie was great, but man, his life sucks now. Like, nobody to call on, nobody to talk to. No, yet I'm sure he'll make more friends eventually. Right. But right now, it's just like, man, so how you yeah, I mean,
but that's what I appreciate, exactly what you just said, Trayvon, because it leaves the door open for two huge Peter Parker characters to be friends. So you bridge the gap of Ned and MJ. It leaves Gwen Stacy available. It leaves you could bring in Norman, who has Harry. It just leaves so many different options for you to go before you come back to MJ and Ned. They remember, and now it's just like, who the fuck is Harry Osborn and Gwen Stacy? Like, what is this?
Yes, I thought about that, and also thought about, I feel like they did this on purpose when they showed him going to that coffee shop and Ned coming in. I was like, they aren't dating, are they?
I swear to God, that's what I thought. That's
exactly I was like, that's so
I'm like, if he kisses her, Ned had the best glow.
Oh, that's awful.
I thought that was gonna happen. 100%.
That one.
God,
I was gonna say, Ned must have put something in that spell. When strange, Ned must have been like, take that. Like, I'm dating MJ now. Like, put that in there. Like, I'll take that.
I really was nervous.
Yeah, Ned was doing something.
Yeah.
Go, Ned, go.
Yeah, but that made me nervous when I first saw that. So, okay, they're just friends right now.
If it was Harry, it would have definitely happened like that.
100%. 100%.
So
good.
Yeah, so I mean, the movie started like, I think after we saw Hawkeye with the Kingpin reveal thing, it kind of, for me, in my mind, solidified we're going to see Charlie Cox. So, but it still was somehow still very excited. As soon as you see that Kane, I was like, oh shit, they're really doing it. So.
And he looks so good. He looks so good. He looks at peace. He doesn't look like he's stressing. That's why I'm like, I can't wait to see Kingpin, to see if he's been living the opposite. To see how stressed out Kingpin has been since losing Vanessa, going to prison, everything.
That's
so
I hope so. I just rewatched that.
Yeah, that's a good question.
I hope they keep this canon. That last episode was so good. It was so good.
Just saying.
I really wonder that too. I do wonder what, and you can't help. For me anyway, I can't help but start thinking about the other guys. I'm like, come on now, like, where's Jessica? Like, I just, this is where I go.
Wait,
I love her.
In that movie?
Oh, no. I'm just saying in general.
Oh, I was about to say Trayvon.
Well, I've seen Kingpin. I've seen Charlie. I'm like, please, like,
if I had to take a guess, it would probably be her next.
Can't ignore everybody. Like everybody.
Right, She-Hulk. I tell you what, when we get our first full-length She-Hulk trailer, I would not put it out of the realm of possibility that second trailer ends with Jessica Jones. Whether it's us hearing her, because it's something you don't necessarily need to hide. We assume at this point.
Apparently, there's a lot of cameos in that show. So
right, yeah. So, like I said, you need a PI. There's no one better in the city. than Jessica Jones. So I find it hard to believe she won't be there next.
So that should be fun. I'm excited.
Yes.
So okay, for the spell, we was doing like they misdirect us very well in the trailers because
Sure did.
Like Doctor Strange was like off. Like, it was just like a little off. And they made it seem like Wong was very against it.
Right.
That was a cut scene though, unless they just shot that for the trailer.
But still,
no, it wasn't a cut scene. I think because remember when you hear the trailer at the end, he says that full line in the trailer that he did not say in the actual movie itself. He splits it. So he does say Strange, that's too dangerous. And then Strange goes, well, I'm going to do it anyway. He's just like, all right, cool. Just leave me out of it. The trailer makes it seem like he says, do not use it. It's too dangerous. And Strange goes, fuck all that noise. I'm going to do it anyway. This was broken down more than that to where Strange.
But we didn't even get we didn't get the wink. We didn't get the wink that Doctor Strange gives to Tom.
Right.
Yeah, that might have been one of those. You know how they film it like 90 times? That might have been one of the throwaway ones. They're just like, I could put this in the trailer, but it doesn't need to be in
that. I just chuck it up.
You needed the wink for him to be nefarious. That's what you wanted the wink for.
I just think it's very Marvel and misdirecting and lying to us like normal. So I'm just gonna let
it definitely did though.
No, I was alright with that.
I was too. I'm just saying. I was like, he wasn't that much against it. He was just like, look, I got style shit. I don't know what you're doing here. All right, go. Bye. Do what you gonna do. After he was like, do you remember the thing? No. Exactly. So leave me alone. I'm gonna use the spell like we did before.
Trayvon, what did you think about because we're at that scene that you're talking about, because we're also talking about trailers. The difference between the trailer of the Scooby-Doo and the movie when he says Scooby-Doo is shit. I was just I wasn't expecting. I didn't mind it. I wasn't expecting that.
I was very like, this is something I don't know why I noticed it. There was a lot of shits in this movie and a lot of like.
Can I say this, Trayvon? I went on a Marvel rewatch, like just like the last few movies.
Yeah, a lot.
And I find it even funnier when people keep saying like, I hope when Punisher comes, they don't water him down and Daredevil. I keep saying that fight Spider-Man had with Goblin was brutal.
Oh yeah.
A and B.
It was.
They like. Do they say the F word? No. Do they say MF? No. But
Language.
They curse a lot in the MCU. So I'm like, I still don't know why people are still of the mindset that we can't get a fun.
I think PG-13s get one F bomb, I think, or something like that.
But I'm saying, look how much we enjoyed just hearing the S word in this.
I wasn't. I'm not saying that it felt out of place because I didn't expect them to curse because of Disney or whatever. I just because I saw how many times did we see that one trailer with him saying crap?
Right,
so hearing the word shit, I was just like, oh, I wasn't expecting that.
No, it definitely caught me off guard. It definitely did, but it also let you know that Feige is sitting there just like, I'm going to show them how adult I'm willing to be. Throw a shit.
And then he said it again after she said, this is your fault.
He's like, throw it in there. And then John Watts is just like, just one. And he's like, no, throw two in there. Give them two back.
You know what?
Back.
Give them three shits. Him saying it and Lizard.
Yeah.
Give them three shits.
Like,
throw them in there and see how they react.
So the villains coming in, of course, I mean the Doc Ock fight on the bridge was great. I love how he took control of his arms.
That was fun.
That was fun. That was just really fun. Like, I was okay, cool. He used them and all that. It scared the shit out of that one when he grabbed the car though. That was funny. I was like, yeah, maybe we should do a little gentler. Maybe I guess he just learned how to use them just then. That's fine. Goblin coming in. I thought it was funny. Doc Strange just like, okay, you have too much fun on this damn bridge. Get your ass over here. Like, I was like, okay. Oh, so he was like, all right, I caught Lizard. I was like, that tells me Lizard is not needed in this movie, but it's fine. It's fine. You caught him for what? Like, where and when? When did you do that?
Wait, Trayvon.
Whatever.
I like how much of a struggle apparently it was for him to catch a lizard. He was out of breath. Caught Lizard.
Cut on his head too.
Damn, it's like, how bad was it? Magic. Why was that so difficult for you? Oof. I thought that was funny.
I thought that was funny. Let me see. The Electro. I like the Electro. I guess I just suspend my belief for him. Like him, he looks normal. Like Jamie Foxx, like, look, I'm gonna look like myself, please. Let's
yeah, you ain't gonna make me ugly twice.
Let's not do this again.
Jimmy Foxx, you ain't gonna make me ugly twice. That a lot.
Complete transformation. He was
definitely
he's cool now too. On top of
he was cool.
He even said in an interview, he said when he was talking to Amy and the crew about this movie, the first thing he said was, "I'm not gonna be blue." And they were just like, "Don't even worry, Kevin's gotten that taken care of. You'll be blue for half a second, and you'll be yellow. How does that sound? And guess what? We'll keep you beautiful." And he's just like, "Oh, sign me up. I don't have to get ugly, and I'm yellow."
Remember when Peter zaps the tree by accident, and then like Ned's like, ask Peter is this like a tree monster or a scientist that turned into a tree, and Electro's like, it's just a tree, man.
It's just a tree, man.
Just a tree, man.
I'm down.
Perfectly timed, and that's how funny. I love Jamie Foxx.
Jamie Foxx is freaking awesome. That is true.
Just a tree, man.
Let's see. So, they're figuring out how to capture him, whatever. And then he realized that all of them will die, and I'm like, oh God, he's gonna want to save them. I was like, dude, I was like, oh no, he's not gonna want to kill him. And Dr. Strange's like, we're gonna send him back. And I was like, okay. I said, so this is when that fight happens in the trailer. This is when he runs with the damn thing. I was like, great.
I like it though, Trayvon, because you see Peter look around, right? He looks around at MJ and Ned, and then that's when he decides, I have to care. Because if it was up to Peter, they would have been gone the first 10 minutes of this movie. They would have been gone. The spell would have happened, would have been over, right? Yeah. But it was Peter deciding, I can't do this. What will it look like to them?
Can't let my friends think I'm a murderer.
Right. I can't let them think that I would just openly let people die.
He literally says the line. They die. Very, very Russian.
He did.
It's like Drago.
Yeah,
very Drago.
That's the only thing I thought of right away.
That's the first thing I thought. I'm like, he actually said it. He's like,
he dies.
It's the greatest line ever.
They die. The
fight was cool and everything. I'm going to fast forward to the part where I really liked, which is when he gets pushed out of his astral body. He can still control his.
Awesome.
And I was like,
not just
very
that.
Interesting, very cool. Like I was like, this is so that got to be Spidey sense, some kind of Spidey sense.
You see it in his
extra.
head.
It was his Spidey power. Sense without holding back. That's how strong his Spidey sense is.
I even loved it because we've seen Strange get astral projected and Bruce, and both of them express how uncomfortable it was.
Yeah.
Peter goes, do it again. And it's like, I love it. And then he's just swimming back to his body. I love that part. And he's just like, that was cool, but don't do it again.
You see the spider sense over his head. I love that.
Yep. It was great.
I love how his body was just like, no.
Yep.
No. Strange is just like, this is a weird individual. How are you doing any of this? And just like, see, you were shit talking the Ancient One when she was trying to teach you all this stuff. Now look at you. You don't know what none of this stuff is.
My best friend can do the fucking ring thing already.
I know geometry.
Right. Bro, the fact that he maths his way out of that will forever be the funniest thing ever. So he's just like, hey, all right, yeah, here goes here. I'm out of here. And Strange is just like, I don't know what just happened. Like, what was any of this?
For me, I guess for me, when I see that, I'm like, oh, so this is when he went to go shoot his movie. Got it. This is how he disappears to go shoot Multiverse of Madness. This is
Dr. Strange is off
filmed at the same time. So this is when he goes to film his film. Got it. So that's just how that's
that's 100% smart. That's 100% smart. They probably did that too.
And I still think it's I know the sling rings or whatever, like that's how they make the portals. But I'm like, they really need those things like that. Like they can't figure out how to do it without them. Like
he doesn't in the comics. That's very MCU. Have to wear those things. Yeah, that's very MCU.
That's very handicapping. Like
no, because I think to them it's more practical, and also let's also be fair. It should have never been as easy to get that off of him as it was. So
true.
It's a rarity that you're able.
Hey, he said "ow." He did say "ow."
He did.
That's what I'm saying. That's not something. And then look how quickly he got it back at the end. So he was just like, "Oh, here it is." Boom! And just immediately just got it back. So, yeah, it's not supposed to be that easy, but that is an MCU thing for sure.
Yeah. Let's see what else. Okay, so now I'm going to jump to Ned, doing his magic thing. And then Andrew coming through was very exciting. I remember I sat up, I was like, oh shit. I was like, that's not Tom. Who was that? He came through and he took the mask off. I loved MJ, like, crawl on the wall or whatever, like do something to prove it. And he was just like, what? I'm not doing that. Like, come on now. And then he eventually did do it. I was like, okay, this is great. And then, then Toby comes through normal. I was like, okay, fine, this is cool. I'm really happy that's this the way they did it. And so early on, I was like, oh, already? I was like, okay, cool. I loved they went to find him, and then they eventually become science bros, which was great. I enjoyed that a lot. But did I just wait? I skipped over a whole part. Hold on, sorry. Rewind. Go back to the apartment really quick. I did think that was a very naive decision. I know I may have said help them, but I'm like, yeah, help them, but leave them in those things. Like, don't bring who's coming with me. I was like, coming where? Coming where? When it walked in the house, I was like, are you serious? I was like, come on.
Well, the fact they left Lizard in the truck. Oh, he wanted to stay in the truck. I don't give a fuck what he wants.
Yeah, I'm like, at least cuff him or something.
Get that
like you got nothing on them. Like,
but
they
again,
just walk around.
Again, it speaks to why this movie was so important because Peter has always been reacting the same way a child would, to where it's just like, oh, you're good now? Yeah, I'm buying it. Okay.
You have a psychopath right there.
You have your aunt right there, though. Who should be the voice of reason.
That's another thing. He had her in there in the danger for me. I was like,
but also remember, Aunt May, outside of Doc Ock, she has no idea who these other people are. They're not from her world. So to her, it's just like, well, if they're sick, help them. And to him, he's just like, I don't think you understand. They're murderers.
She knows he has a split personality. Peter just fought Electro. He know what kind of powers he got. I can shot the both the hell out of him real quick.
Mm-hmm.
You got Doc Ock with arms. Well, I guess he's controlling them right now. Sure. And then you got Sam over here. I don't even know why he's there, and I honestly think him just being Sam was just really because they couldn't get the actor at one point. I feel like they just get the actor at the end. That's fine. I get that. That's how I think when I watch this stuff. I'm like, that must be why they did that, because they don't have the actor
we'll
yet.
Pay him at the end for the 5 minutes.
I mean, that's honestly that's.
Well, you were dubbing his voice the entire time. Yeah.
Right. This is cheaper that way. Like,
I'm with you.
Way better than like the whole hour or whatever. 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Kevin was just like, I'm sorry, the extra $4,000 is going where? To who?
I was like, they were friends at the end. So it's like,
am I mistaken though too with the Lizard? Is that the actor's voice that did Lizard or no?
Yes.
Because it sounded different.
That's him. Yeah, that's him.
He didn't talk a lot as the Lizard.
He did talk a lot. No. He didn't talk a lot.
But when he did, that was all.
A couple of good amounts of talking.
Not like this. That was him, this motherfucker was like legit talking in this movie.
Wait, oh, you mean in Amazing Spider-Man didn't talk a lot?
Yeah, right.
No, I meant not as Lizard. I meant the actor.
Yeah, but I mean though that he doesn't sound exactly the same in that Lizard form. What I'm saying.
All right.
Let's compare the two. We didn't have a lot of him as a lizard
gotcha.
talking.
Okay.
So, and I really just Spidey sense has been heightened way far than it used to be. At the beginning, I think the first movie he barely did at all, and then his arms stood up in Infinity War. The hair stood up on his arms, and now this one he kind of like had a vision. That's how it felt like. He just like having like a out of body experience, like. But I felt like, but it's like he didn't know who it was. He was just sitting there like, shit, which one is it? All of them could be ready to fuck with me.
I love that because in the comics, there's so many times where the Spidey sense will go off and Peter doesn't know why.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't know why. The Spidey sense is just trying to tell him like, hey, something's
coming.
I don't know what, but something. And then it's for Peter to deduce. Because remember, even the first Spider-Man, when it goes off, it goes off before the glider even comes. The glider ignites and then starts to head his way. But the Spidey sense already feels that he hit the button to initiate. So it sometimes goes off before the action. And then Peter has to line up with the action. Right.
It's supposed to go off before, or else what's the point of the Spidey?
It's essentially like someone telling you your future, but not telling you when it happens. And now you're just like, well, shit, I got to line it up with
Right.
what they said.
It tells you something's gonna happen. You just got to figure out what that is.
Now you can argue really quick that it was because of the moment between the two, but the one thing I did question, and my friend was actually the one that brought it up, so I want to give him credit. My friend Frank is the one that actually even said it. But I can live. I can like be like, all right, well, it's just because of this. He asked the question. I'm going to ask you guys because I really don't know if it was just the bond between the two. Why didn't Toby's spider sense kick in before Goblin stabbed him?
It may have. But in that moment,
is an older Spider-Man. That's my explanation.
I kind of feel as though it may have, but in that moment,
you're right. You're not wrong.
He was laser focused because remember, neither one of their Spidey sense kicked in.
Yeah.
When?
Didn't he say
when Goblin stabs him?
When Goblin stabbed Toby.
Didn't he say he wasn't Spider-Man anymore really that much? Didn't he say he kind of calmed it down? That's what Toby said. No, I'm saying Andrew said he was still doing it.
No, Toby was still active because he had the suit on when he got blipped there.
Yeah, he was still strapped.
So he was still active. But I just, again, yes, sure, plot hole. But I
don't even think it's a plot hole. I honestly think it was because he was engaged and they were having a moment that.
That's what I'm saying. Because remember, Tom's didn't kick in either. Like Tom didn't move him out of the way, and then he got stabbed.
Yeah.
So it was the moment of.
No, yeah. I'm just asking you guys your opinion because I didn't know how to answer him, but I didn't even pick that up.
Yeah, I just take it more so.
I didn't think about it either. Honestly,
it was just in the moment. It was in the moment, and it was
it's
just
as easy as it's not his movie. It's that simple.
Yeah.
But Tom didn't either, Joel. That's
but it doesn't matter. He wasn't endangered. Toby was. Spider Sense knows better. He's like, look, I don't give a fuck about them.
Yo, could you picture if your Spidey Sense? Could you picture if his Spidey Sense saw Aunt May in trouble right before she got stabbed and was just like, well, I protect Peter. Like you're not Peter.
Well, that's the thing. The Spider Sense protects. Sorry.
It's true. This is awkward. Sorry, Aunt May.
Also,
sorry, you gotta die. Sorry.
I like when that was going on. He was like, May, like back up. Like I don't know what's about to happen. Like chill out for a second, and she just like jumped into action, go and get the stuff. I was like, oh my god, she's at that moment, like when he did that, I was like, oh, she's dying. I knew she was gonna die as soon as she said, you have to help them. And I was like, oh yeah, okay.
You're gonna regret that.
And then they were in the apartment, and I was like, oh yeah, she's really going. Like it just add on for me. I was like, okay. So as soon as she told me that, oh, she's done. And then when they got in the apartment, I said, oh, she's really done. Oh, I was like, and then it happened. I said, well, I knew it was coming. I was like, it's sad. Not that sad because I knew it was coming. Like, so it's like,
I tell you what, if there's one thing you can guarantee is that Trayvon will talk a murder into an MCU. he will, hey, you ain't making it home today.
We'll see what happens this Wednesday. I'm telling you. We'll see what's going to happen this Wednesday. But yeah, I'm telling you. Man. They're playing.
We will see when Hawkeye is still alive to be in whatever comes next. We will. Yeah. We will indeed see. But what else stood out to you, Trayvon?
I love the banter between the three. I love them like Toby saying, "Yeah, it comes out of me," or whatever. I love that. I wonder if they're gonna like talk about it at all. Like they're just gonna just act normal, nothing's wrong.
Yeah,
they did that. I was like, fine, they addressed it. Cool. I'm glad they addressed it because I always thought it was weird. Like he's the only one that could do that. But I also thought it was cool too.
That was such a weird decision for what's to make. Like, why?
There's some people that prefer it. And I'm like, ew. Like, why?
I mean, sure. Does it make more sense in the scheme of if you got bit by a spider, you get literally the same exact powers of a spider, and spiders don't have web cartilages? Yes, but it's also weird in the sense of you didn't become a human spider. You've adapted abilities of a spider. So it would make sense that something of it is restrained to where you just don't have literally everything as easily as a spider does.
Yeah.
I'm like, yes, it does make sense there, but it's still just a weird decision to make. Because then you did get the questions of, well, does it only come out of your wrist?
Like, why only your wrist?
And then it comes out like...
Shouldn't it come out of his butt?
Yeah, right.
Essentially, it
or
should.
Something else,
or somewhere
Essentially,
else.
It should. Yeah, but I don't think that'd be practical if he hung from the front part and he was hanging from the web.
Yeah, that would probably hurt.
Probably would.
Oh man, I tell you what, his villains would never fight him. I tell you that.
Ooh,
it'd have to be
okay. I'm messing with him.
Yeah, no, thank you.
I like when he's like, well, I don't I just know how to breathe. I don't
right.
breathe,
Like I do it like I breathe. Yeah. Yeah, like I don't go, all right, web him. Like, like
you ever had to do that? Web block? I'm like, yeah, web block.
Existential.
I love that their web blocks meant two different things. Like, man, I've run out of webs before. And he's like, oh, I've just had them not come out of my body. He's like, wait, what?
Performance anxiety.
it just made me think about the just off tangent a little bit, but the Marvel Avengers game where he has to reload his web shooters. It's annoying as hell. Anyway, all right, so I'm gonna get back to this.
It is annoying, but
it's annoying as hell. And it takes forever. Let's see. But anyway, so also I think that's two other things we'll talk about. Willem Dafoe was great. I thought the fight was definitely more brutal than I've ever seen that character be. He was like, they were scrapping, like for real. Like there was no, like they were going through floors. They were hitting each other hard. Tom's Peter was definitely not pulling his punches, especially that end part.
That was the one thing I was very curious about, because no one's ever really showcased how strong Peter is in a fight.
Right.
He's usually defeating you by webbing you or outsmarting you. It's never just straight up, I'm going to just outpower you.
Mm-hmm.
So when you see him just throwing punches with Goblin, it's like, I've never really seen this before. It's interesting. Like when he power bombed him, I'm like,
yeah. Okay. It gave me, it just reminded me of Winter Soldier at the beginning, because that's the strongest I've seen Cap at the beginning of Winter Soldier. How he was so ruthless on that boat. That's the only time
strongest I've seen Cap. The strongest I've seen Cap is holding Thanos' hand. Like the fuck?
Well, no, I'm
How are you doing that?
Fighting.
I
Winter Soldier. He was like tearing those guys up, and he was hitting them with no pulling back to me. And I was like, those are normal people.
That's why I keep trying to tell people, no way in the
they were dead.
You could say that they weren't killing people. Like he kicked one guy off a boat. You don't even know if he can swim. Like, like Cap is just like, you die, and you die. All right,
and get to like probably like the third best thing about this entire film, the Doctor Strange trailer. So I was very excited about that trailer. Excited to see more witch stuff. I'm excited to see more flying. I'm excited to see more magic. Sorry. I'm excited to see what if Doctor Strange, because that's who that was. And yeah, that's gonna be fun to see. I'm really upset. I mean, we got moved to May. It better be worth it. Because I know this is mean to say, I was very much looking forward to that more than the Batman. But I'm just saying, but we're just here. We're here now. Batman's gonna be in March. And now I gotta wait until May.
I almost just blocked you, Trayvon. There's some things.
I mean, that's fine. I'm gonna stand in that.
If we're going by trailers alone, I'm definitely anticipating Batman way more.
I mean, yeah.
I love magic.
I
love magic.
I love magic too.
Don't get me wrong.
I love witch shit.
It's a fun game.
I don't know how you guys felt about the trailer. I don't know how you guys felt about the trailer for Doctor Strange. I was not impressed.
Me seeing Wanda. Me seeing what if.
No, just Wanda. If Wanda wasn't in that trailer, I would have hated it even more. I was not impressed by the trailer.
I loved it because I have no fucking idea.
That's why I didn't like it. I was like, what the hell am I watching? It was too choppy.
I don't want to know, because the questions I had in this trailer, the same questions me and Joel had when they announced it. When they announced it, we said, Multiverse of Madness.
America Chavez.
Crazy.
Yeah, well, her too.
Really
I was very excited to see.
I was just like, okay.
You remember that day, right?
It's the characters for me.
When me and you, when they announced the title, we were just Multiverse of Madness.
I knew that. I knew bad shit was gonna happen when that happened.
I was like, wait a minute, Mom.
And then Wanda walked out, and you're like, Wanda walked out, and you're like, wait, are you getting children? Is that why it's Mom? What's happening here? So when I saw the trailer, America Chavez, I'm with you, Trayvon, stood out to me. I can't wait to see more from her.
Yeah.
You better fly.
But what?
She better punch.
We have a lot of people out too, man.
You better fly. I'm not playing.
I was more intrigued by the fact that even when Baron Mordo and he's talking, and I'm just like, he's making things more confusing.
Mm-hmm. I love that Mordo has his long hair. I
honestly did not care about him at all. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Baron Mordo has long hair now.
I didn't care about him.
No, only reason I care about Baron Mordo is I'm like, well, at any point will he be a main villain? Clearly, it doesn't seem like it'll be this movie. But at what point Is Baron Mordo going to matter more?
Probably eventually.
He's going to kill Wong.
Yeah.
He's going to kill Wong, take his magic. That's what's going to happen.
You're trying to
I
kill
really
him.
hope not.
What is
I
up
really
with
hope not, Trayvon.
He
I
wants
like
to take
Dr.
everybody's
Strange
magic.
friend.
Okay, but there's a lot of people there that have magic.
Why not get the Sorcerer Springs magic? Right?
Does he know he's the Sorcerer
magic,
Supreme?
motherfucker's magic? There's like gonna be like 3 Sorcerer Supremes in this movie. Did you see the toys?
Probably.
I got a really quick question. I think I started asking you this, Juwan, because you had said to me, I don't know if you still think this as well. And then I guess this is 2 questions. One, do you still think that the villains were killed when they were brought back to their respective universes?
Oh, okay. Yes, we did have this conversation. I'm glad you asked me. Okay.
Yes.
So this is what I said. I took it differently. That's all I'm going to keep it as. I just took it differently. Nothing's really going to change my mind until I hear John Watts and them come out and definitively say it. Because this is just how I took it.
Okay.
I took it as Peter's whole goal was to fix them to live there, right? It was the whole point of I don't want to send you back. Because to me, if you're telling me Doc Ock got blipped as he was choking out Toby Spider-Man, that's when he got blipped. Because he said the last moment was when he had his hands wrapped around his neck, right? So I'm like, well, if you blip him back, how do you not blip him back in that exact same moment?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's, again, I'm not saying this is how it is. It's just how I took it. So I took it as Peter saying, I don't want to condemn you to death by going back. So what if I fix you and you can stay here and you're not bad people? You've been fixed.
Oh, I didn't know.
How I took it.
I thought he always had it that they were going back. He just wanted to redeem them.
That's how I took it.
No problem.
They will go back and not die.
But my problem,
I'm 100% with you guys. But that's why
problem
it makes sense to me.
If they are blipped back to the exact second you said, right, and they are redeemed, how does that fare well for a Green Goblin? That's like, oh, I'm good now. He's back into his time, and then the glider just comes. You know what I mean? Like, I don't understand the point of the redemption.
We don't know, and we don't know. And remember, I told you, Lizard being blipped clearly wasn't at any point of the end of that movie. It was before.
It wasn't. Yeah, because he gets cured
he
anyway.
Could be blipped and then end up butt naked back in a cave somewhere.
Yeah.
So or a sewer rather. So I'm like, again, they weren't clear on it.
I'm more worried for Electro because wasn't he like going back and forth on the Electro?
It was in the grid. He was
stuck in the grid.
He completely exploded in the grid because they
but before if he got taken out during that, if he comes back, he's just gonna fall, right?
He's gonna fall right to the ground. So that's why I said I think a lot of it is
like a parachute.
I think a lot of it is us overthinking something to them that they're just like, bro, these universes you probably will never see again, so it doesn't matter.
Right.
But to me, that's why I took it as he was trying to preserve them here, because if you go back the moment you were pulled. Again, not saying that's how it was. It's just how I took it. I could be 100%.
I think we have to use the same logic we use for people coming back in Endgame. Imagine some people are on planes. Some people are on how do they get back? Right. Like, I think I use that same logic. They landed safely.
Fall out the sky.
That's why I said it would have been so much more funnier if Monica came back, but she reassembled on someone's lap because someone was sitting there for whoever their loved one was. So when she's sitting alone and then Yelena's in a bathroom alone, I'm like, oh no, it would have made way more sense that someone was sitting there and then someone was in that bathroom. Right. And then someone was in that bathroom when they blipped back. But again, like I said, I think they were hoping that we didn't give it this much thought.
Right.
But if it is as simple as you guys are saying, again, like I said, I'm not saying you guys are wrong. No, it's just I took it differently. That's all I'm saying.
But the other problem that poses, and that was the other thing that I had an issue with, and we can say the same thing for the stone thing, and when you got to go back and put them in the right timeline. And this is the problem you have with the multiverse is if you are blipping them back and they are redeemed, what does that mean for Spider-Man and his villains? How are you curing Spider-Man villains? How are you not changing the course of you know what I'm saying? How is there not interfering with multi-dimension issues?
But see, that's what I think they're saying.
That's what the TVA is for.
Strange,
right?
It's coming in.
But no, that's the thing because they're in a flux. They aren't intervening because if they were intervening, they would have stopped Peter.
Yeah.
But I think the whole purpose is they're in a flux, so that's right now on hold. Yeah. So I think the whole consequences of this will be in Multiverse of Madness, where either Wong or Mordo is going to tell him, bro, I've seen you change so many different things.
Yeah.
Why would you think this would never come back?
Yeah.
And now look, it has come back. You now got an evil you. America Chavez just popped in wherever the hell she came from. Wanda's now adopting from the multiverse. It's craziness. I got dreads. It's craziness that you're both here, Doctor Strange. It's pure madness.
And they literally pulled
the consequences in Multiverse of Madness.
They literally pulled imagery from What If. I mean, you see the skyscrapers melting upwards like it did in What If.
See that same creature or whatever.
Yeah, the same. Well, yes. Yes.
That's not really the same creature.
Not the same,
it's
but it's
also not who I thought. So I want to give credit to Joel because I forgot Lego.
I didn't know either.
There was a toy leak.
It's Gargantos.
Gargantos. I knew it started with a G.
Yeah, but it's everyone's like, oh, I really thought it might be Shumagora, but doesn't seem
I
like
didn't. Yeah, because he's bigger though, Shumagora. Like he's
that's what I thought. He's a multiversal threat. It makes sense.
So it'll be interesting to see if this monster, if Shumagorath isn't one of the many obstacles he has to face in the course of this movie, or if we just were completely wrong. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
I think the confusion is everyone expect that if it is Gargantus, I think that it's obviously easy to get confused.
I think the confusion is more what we have. We've gone through so many different events. Westview, the TVA with Kang and what Sylvie did, right? What this spell did. This is 3 separate events now that we've gotten already in the MCU alone. Which one is fucking things up?
All of them. That's the point. Yeah. All of them.
That's all the way I like
Wanda being unleashed.
Mainly because we don't know if all of them are concurrent or not.
Yeah.
TVA exists outside of space and time. So that could have happened at any point of everything that just happened.
Right. Yeah. When I say that's really fucked. That's where really shit gets fucked up right there.
That's what I'm saying.
That it's confusing too though, because like that's a multiverse right there, because he fucks up the whole what do they call it, the timeline? The mainstream,
the pure time, no, not pure timeline.
I forget the name of it. They fucked that up because once they killed this guy, now all hands on deck and nothing's off the table, right? Because of that shit. So that's really why this movie, Multiverse of Madness, is going to be insane, because there really is nothing they can't do. They could do anything.
I didn't even Google yet.
Peter's life was just branched too.
Sacred timeline.
Peter's life was just branched as well, right? Peter's life was just branched as well, right? Like TVA said, it branches off when something happens.
There's so many branches.
There's 3 Peters in one room. That it had to have been a branch there.
Right, but luckily Strange rectified it. But the problem is we don't know that if the damage was already done.
Yeah, but now their universes gets branched.
Yeah, because you got cured villains. Which
I mean, it doesn't change it for the worse,
right? In Lizard. Lizard was already
It doesn't, but it could change simple things like we don't know who took over Oscorp. Now that both the Osborns were dead. So whoever took that over, now it by default goes back to Norman.
But this is when Norman was still alive, right? Like this, like
what does that mean for Harry?
Alive. So he's still alive.
What does that mean for Harry? Because if Norman is surviving, do the events of Spider-Man 2 still happen? Or Spider-Man 3?
Maybe Harry never becomes a goblin and becomes evil.
So we could go even deeper. Well, we know this now. Doc Ock. Doc Ock has changed now.
Yeah.
But that was after he used Norman's technology. Or
that's what I'm saying.
Harry gave it to him. Harry gave it to him.
Now Norman's there to go.
The Trinium.
No.
Yeah.
No, you can't have
and the tentacles. He said use technology from nanotech.
Wait, is it Trinium or Tritium?
Tritium.
I don't know.
With an N or a D?
An N.
I think it's with
Trinium.
It sounds better with a D. I think is it Tritium or because I said Trinium, but
Tritium.
So like something he shouldn't have had in the first place.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not a fan of a multiverse, and I will be the first one excited when this shit ends. Because
it's not ending, Juwan. Juwan's not ending.
It's going to end.
It's not.
It will end. They will not keep it open.
It's a fun little.
It's with a T. It is Tritium.
It'll end when we get to.
It's not even.
Here's how you know they won't keep it open, Trayvon. You ready to know how they won't keep it open?
Why?
They realize the plot holes that are created when you have to branch so many different things of it. Hell, they won't even give us years anymore. because it's so out of whack.
It's so
you saw
annoying.
them. You saw them cover up the year.
They
on
covered
her.
our They covered it in Hawkeye too.
Spoiler alert.
They covered it in Hawkeye too.
For that reason, though.
But that's what I'm saying. So if Feige is telling you, I don't even want to give you guys a year. He does not want to have to keep it. It's just too much.
It covers your ass just in case you make a continuity.
Yeah, but
That's
you
why I
know
always
that
say
you
it.
shouldn't be showing the musical billboard and stuff. Like I'm gonna add all that up. I see that. I'm like, okay.
But you still don't know what year you're in.
And yes, I do, because I know Spider-Man Far From Home happened a while after Endgame, so this should be right around time of Hawkeye. So
And
I know.
100% would
And
think it
WandaVision is right after
Yeah.
Endgame.
But
I know
time
that
out. But here's
much.
the question: do you know what timeline you're in towards the end of the movie?
He's in Christmas time. It was already in winter. He was in Christmas time. He's throwing around in the snow.
Wasn't already in winter. They just came back from summer break. What are you talking about? It was already in winter.
Wait, are we
Goes from
talking
summer
Far
to
From
winter.
Home or No Way Home?
No Way Home.
No Way Home goes from summer to winter. From beginning
That's
to
No
what
Way
I'm saying.
Home is Christmas
That's what
time.
I'm saying.
Exactly.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It starts in the summer and ends in the winter.
That's
Yeah.
all I'm saying. So, but again, they're gonna wrap it up because if you're Feige, you just don't want what comes with that, which is what everyone keeps saying is
No, they're gonna have
bring
fun
this
with
in,
it.
bring that
but-
in, bring this in, bring that in. You don't want that forever. You want that now, have fun with it, close it up, be done with it.
Obviously, and if it's a multiverse of madness, is it gonna say madness? No, you're probably gonna fix something, right? When at the end of that movie. So
You assume so, and then you assume
Maybe
whatever
not
you don't
everything.
fix, whatever you don't fix, Loki will fix at the end of the year. So that's what your
Okay.
mindset is. But before you go, Joe, just really quickly, I want Joel to give his thoughts just in case Joel spawns anything.
No,
Yeah,
that okay, good. Yeah, that's exactly what I did really want to
Oh.
hear from Joel too.
different character.
Go ahead, Joel. No,
Of
this is
what?
the variant, Joel.
Wait, what was the question?
Oh no, just your thoughts on the movie.
I wanted your thoughts.
Oh, you want my thoughts on the
Yeah.
movie? I mean, it's not very different from everyone else's thoughts on the movie.
Trust me, it will be.
Really? All right. Well, it was good. I mean, it was really, really good. Didn't think that was really a debate, but okay, yeah, it was really good. I enjoyed a majority of the movie. Don't get me wrong. I mean, there were parts I would love to rewatch it because there were a lot of parts where people were just they were cheering so loud I
Yeah.
couldn't hear the fucking words that they were saying on screen. So I would love
I
to go
saw
back
it a second time today. What scene specifically do you need to?
The Daredevil scene, the Matt Murdock scene. I'm sorry.
Right.
I only heard like the end of that conversation. I'm trying to think of the other. Well, obviously, every time the Peters showed up, that was mayhem.
Dude, they were clapping at the end credits when you saw Toby's name again. They all started clapping.
Yeah.
My theater was definitely pro Toby.
Yeah, ours was too, but
Bro, everybody. Ours is great.
Yeah.
Everybody.
They were very excited for Matt Murdock. I was very happy.
Oh, Matt Murdock, yeah, definitely.
But very cool, very cool. I loved all the fucking little cameos that we did get. Of the whole the Eddie Brock Venom mid-credit scene. I'm very curious how the fuck that's gonna play out long term. There's a lot of different ways they can go, obviously, with the Secret War possibly going being down the line.
Now, Joel, was he pulled in? Because we asked this question, or I asked this question before you came in. Because to me, it's the only thing that makes sense for Venom to be in this world because of the spell. He was obviously brought into here because of the spell. We know that now. That's why he was pulled into this universe, right?
Right.
If that's the case, are we to assume it's because of what Venom says to him in the end credit scene about what he knows? And it's got to assume that he knows who Peter Parker is then, right? Because that's the only thing that would make sense.
Yeah, because I was questioning. I'm like, Eddie Brock doesn't know who the fuck Peter Parker is. It didn't make any sense to me. But then as we were driving home, actually, I was thinking about it. I'm like, it makes sense. What he says literally at the end of the Venom, the Venom 2 movie, literally says because of the whole multiversal. Probably when he was feeding him the information, the little bit that he was giving him, some of that was the Peter Parker knowledge, and that's what transported him over. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so now him getting ported back, it's just the symbiote stuck there. They can do it. They can go in a lot of different directions. They can just go straight. They can go the symbiote going there to Peter Parker because that's where Eddie was going anyway. Or they could wait for Secret War and have the symbiote show up there. You know, very more classic comic book style. You know, but that's up to them. I have no idea how they're gonna do it. I just really hope we get Eddie again, and I want to see Eddie Brock, and I want Tom Hardy Eddie Brock to be the Venom that we get again, but in the MCU version of that. I would love him still be Eddie Brock, but the MCU version of Eddie Brock. You know what I mean? I don't know if that'll be the case. They might go in a completely different direction because there's been many different Venoms. You can go from Gargan.
It's not Flash. I just don't want Flash Thompson.
They have Flash. The Flash in this world, I'm not sure everyone wants to see Flash Thompson Venom.
No.
But there's also Gargan was Venom at one point. But I want him as Scorpion. I don't want to take that away from Gargan.
Yeah, so we've already been teased that he might be Scorpion already. So.
Right. Yeah. Right. So hopefully we do get it. Eddie Brock. If it is Eddie, it's Tom Hardy.
Well, just because of a tattoo.
Okay, right, I was about to say
it's just a tattoo, but I guess that's not a tease. But it isn't though.
It's an illusion. Like they alluded to it.
They're alluding to that he could be Scorpion, but it could be rectified that he's not. You know what
he's gonna get the tattoo removed.
God damn it, why not?
No arguments here. I'm just speaking to the point you was just making of.
I don't want to see Eddie be the Venom over Eddie. Is what I'm trying to say.
And no argument here. But if it comes down to Gargan or Flash,
before you join, I said the only main issue I had with this, besides Sandman not alternating between his body form and sand,
that too.
It bothered me that he was sand the whole time.
Me too.
But for me, and I didn't know definitively until I searched it up, and I told you for me, the main, and it's a big plot hole, was the fact that Electro was summoned at all, because he, in fact, I even rewatched Amazing Spider-Man just to confirm it. He didn't know who Peter Parker was. So I was glad that Jamie Foxx got a better run at the character. So I was glad for him, and I was glad that we got a better version of Electro. But at the end of the day, it didn't make any sense. But that's it. As far as that, you take those couple things. I still thought this film was one of my favorite MCU films. I don't know if it's top 5, but definitely, I mean, it's probably top 5. I gotta look at the other films, but and maybe my favorite Spider-Man of all time. I gotta say.
If these movies do anything, they always create this one big plot hole where you're like, you just gotta swallow it. Like in Homecoming, with the date was wrong. Like, fuck.
Yeah, that was a bit. Yeah, that was.
It bothers me, but you gotta just fuck it. You know, it is what it is.
Yeah.
And this one with Electro now, like, realistic. That's why I wasn't even sure if that was the same Electro from the same universe. I'm like, he don't even look the same. He don't look the same.
That's what I was saying.
No, but it has to be because Connors knew him.
Yeah, and so did Andrew.
Andrew knew him, but Connors too.
Right. So they all knew each other in that regard. Yeah. But they didn't know. He didn't know. Well, he does apparently know Peter in this movie, but in that movie he didn't.
Yeah.
Right, because he knows who Peter is.
I could have sworn there was a moment where he, Gwen, and Max were in a room together. He just never knew he was Spider-Man, but he knew Peter Parker.
Yeah, but the whole point was that Peter Parker.
It's Spider-Man. Not about knowing Peter Parker. You have to definitively know Peter Parker is Spider-Man.
Right.
That's so confusing then, because the Lizard didn't find out who Spider-Man was to the end of that movie. And you pulled him before the end of that movie.
Right.
Wait, no, I thought he knew Peter Parker was.
No, he didn't find that out till the end. That was at the end when he took his mask off. The cop found out. The Lizard found out. And then it was just like
I don't think so. I think he knew who Peter was.
Maybe he did, because he did attack him at the school. So maybe he did.
That's what I'm saying. I think
he did.
Because he came to find him in the school.
I think it was at his apartment, right? When he came to visit him. That's what he found out, I think.
Yeah.
So, but Electro, I haven't seen it in a long time. So you gotta, I didn't know.
Well, no. So I Googled was, when did Electro know who Peter Parker was in Amazing Spider-Man 2? And all that comes up is plot hole. And Comic Book CBR actually wrote a big article on it, how it's the biggest plot hole in the film. But other than that, like I said, but if you enjoy a film as much as you do, which I did, I've seen it twice already. I'll go see it again. I loved it. I did.
Yeah. We just, retcon Amazing Spider-Man 2, the least liked movie, right? Of that, mostly that or Spider-Man 3.
And it made me love Garfield even more. And I didn't even care for Garfield.
Garfield was my favorite. I really didn't want to see them change Spider-Man's. I really wanted Andrew to get pushed into the MCU.
Another one.
I loved Andrew Garfield. He was almost perfect as Spider-Man to me.
He could be Spider-Man in Venom's universe. I like Jawan's idea.
He could, and I'm okay with that. I just don't know if I need like solo movies, because I already have I want Tom Spider-Man to continue. And so if Andrew's in Spider-Man, fine, but I want him as a part of a whole and more so than his own shit.
This is what I want. And we can't all get as fans what we want. I want Tom to be the Spider-Man, right? He is the Spider-Man, and the only other version of Spider-Man I think we need is Miles Morales, and that's it.
Absolutely.
I'm okay with that. I don't need, and I was telling them earlier, I don't mind if, because they were saying how Andrew and Toby could show up, or maybe either one or both of them in Secret Wars or something like that. If you're going to give us a couple more cameos, it's fine. I don't want to, I'm not saying I need a Spider-Man 4 with Sam Raimi. I'm not saying I need a Spider-Man 3 or Amazing Spider-Man 3 with Andrew.
Me neither.
But yeah, that's what we were talking about, because there's conversations about Andrew coming back. In what respects, we don't know. But Kanan told me this Thursday. And then Daniel was talking about it today, and I think either today or yesterday.
Yeah, he mentioned that they've had conversations.
Right.
But for what and what capacity, I have no idea.
I mean, look, I don't mind. Yes, does Miles already exist in the MCU? 100%. Yeah. But I don't mind if you give Andrew the proper send-off, and then just spawn a Miles for your Sony universe, and then work your way into a Spider-Verse that bridges the two between the MCU and Sony, between Miles and Peter. And that way, if Tom Holland at that point down the line is just done, I've given you guys 32 movies, I'm done. You just bring Miles. You just bridge that gap and have Miles.
Yeah.
Miles is the future, whether it's in the MCU or in Sony. He's the future regardless. So at some point, that is a future we will get to. So I'm saying I would not mind, because it would make that Jamie Foxx joke so much more sweeter if Miles comes from Andrew's world.
That's why it was said, because
there had to be a black one somewhere out
there. Definitely alluding to Miles. Definitely.
Because I can see Andrew going, well, you're welcome. I gave you Miles. You replaced me. There you go. There's your Black Spider-Man. So I'm just saying Andrew's name being thrown around is something Kanan has been talking to me about for a little bit now. So I could see Sony bridging, giving Venom a Spider-Man rather than giving Spider-Man a Venom, giving Venom his Spider-Man, and then you figuring out what you want to do.
You're doing both. You're going to give Venom a Spider-Man.
100%. You're going to give Spider-Man we know how it's going to play. We know Tom's just going to get the black suit, and then it'll be interesting to see who gets it after Tom. That'll be the
question. Yeah.
That's the question. Right.
Gotcha.
What are you going to say? I thought you were going to say something. I'm sorry.
I forgot.
Okay, go ahead, Joe.
No, I'm just saying, I just want to see Spider-Man and Venom, like the right way.
Right. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, look, it'll be interesting because we know Venom 3 is going to do something with Toxin. I told you guys what I would prefer they do. They go with it. I want you to go to his planet. I want you to explore that. I want the leader of the symbiotes. Yes, I want Null. I want it more than anything. He was teeing it up at the end of the movie, and then you got blipped. So I'm like, I want it. Do it. But yeah, so I think we'll see Andrew again at some point. I don't think we'll see Toby. I don't think we'll see either one of them in Secret Wars. I really don't need to. This was good enough.
I agree. No, I agree with you. I think this was the perfect way to bring them back on screen altogether.
Right. But do you see what my problem is though, Joe? What did we say? This movie happens and the first fucking thing fans want is more Andrew, more Toby, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's why I kept telling you, if we get Multiverse of Madness and it's a cameo of Hugh Jackman, it will never end. They'll never accept whoever the new guy is. It's why you needed to establish a new guy, and then you can just have your fun. But if you start backwards, they'll never let that door open for someone else to walk through it. That's why I said it's dangerous. It's just
we're gonna get some crazy fucking cameos in this damn movie.
Yes, we are.
Shoots before apparently.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, but I just don't want Aaron Taylor Johnson to be Wolverine. His name is being thrown around right now.
Yeah.
He's going to be Craven.
That was only because what's his name would have chosen him. He would have been one of his choices. It would have been him or Taron Egerton.
Yeah, those are the two names that are being.
Hugh Jackman, the director of
Kingsman.
Yes.
Matt.
It's just Matt.
No, Matthew Vaughn. It's Matthew Vaughn.
Matthew Vaughn. There you go. Not that he would have chosen.
Taron too young.
Taron Egerton, or it would have been
perfect age.
Whatever his name.
Not for Tom.
Is he 4'11"? How tall is Taron?
No. We're not talking about Venom. We're talking about Wolverine.
Wolverine.
Yeah, Wolverine.
Yeah. How tall is he? 4'11"?
I even think. Oh, okay.
Well, Aaron Taylor Johnson's too tall for me. But
Yeah.
I like Egerton's a good height. He's like 5'9", some shit, maybe shorter.
You want a young Wolverine like that?
Yes, because I want a Wolverine. I don't have to worry about 10 years from now you crying about you're too goddamn old to want to keep doing it.
Did anybody else
start young and then get old with the role?
Did anybody else immediately go to? And I guess that's just because of how what's his face, Professor X was trying to find all the mutants when he was using Cerebro. Did anybody else go to that when the characters were coming out of the thing in the sky and you saw the shadows? Did anybody else think that we were going to see mutants?
No, I did not. But now that you're saying it, it does look like Cerebro. It does look like how when
I thought we were going to see mutants.
I did not.
No.
If Spider-Man mutants, no.
I was looking
I
for.
think they keep teasing us with it. Like they keep teasing us with the mutant thing.
They do.
Because there's got to be a mutant, dude. Think about it this way: there's got to be a mutant in some universe that knows Peter Parker is Spider-Man.
That would have been.
There was a lot of people that. There's so many different universes that they didn't all come through all at once. They were coming. There was more coming.
Yeah,
but we never got that far, luckily, for them.
Yeah, because if we're going that route, I would have rather Miles popped out of there than a mutant. If you're going, someone in a universe knows Peter is Spider-Man. I'd rather see Miles in the Spider-Man movie than Wolverine popping out and going, Spider-Man, why are you here? Like, this makes no sense. Like, who brought you here? And it would just be the weirdest way to introduce mutants in the MCU.
Well, no, we were only going to get the shape. Well, they weren't going to.
Oh, I thought you were talking about one coming out. I'm like,
no, just the shape of one, maybe like a claw or something like that. I don't know who had the spear though, or the trident, whatever that thing was.
Kraven.
That was Kraven.
100% that was Kraven.
All right, so the one next to Kraven.
The fact that they were going to use Kraven before they had to do all this.
The one next to Kraven. Immediately to the right is Scorpion because his tail was right next to him.
Yeah, I told you I thought I saw Scorpion, Rhino, Kraven, and I swear to God I thought I saw Felicia. Felicia.
I'm like, Felicia, I saw
Black
Arrow?
Yeah. Right? It's a real multiverse if she pops
Rhino, it was Rhino and Scorpion for me, the only two that I saw both times.
Like a Black Cat. I didn't see Black Cat.
I could have sworn I saw Black Cat. But no, this was a great movie.
Anybody?
Yeah.
I gotta watch it.
So fast. Joel, me and you're gonna go at some point soon. Me and you gotta go. Let me read the comment before we
get Ares? That's what it looked like. I was thinking like Pantheon. It was like
so as of now, what are your Malcolm, we're not doing that. Our top 9 Spider-Man movies? Yeah. Catch us the next time we do a live and we could do that for you.
Spider-Man still number 1 for
We're doing that soon on my channel, you know that, right?
Yeah.
Now that it's finally out, we're definitely doing a top Spider-Man.
Yeah, but I mean to do it right now, no. Because if I did it right now, this would be number 1. And I don't want to do that. But see, I eliminate this movie the same way I eliminate Civil War. Because as much as this was a Peter Parker movie, you got a chance to lay back on a lot of different things than just like Iron Man 3 was just Iron Man. Thor Ragnarok was just Thor. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't Thor
and Hulk.
It was
and Hulk.
Thor Dark World.
I'm sorry, I apologize. Yes,
and
it was
Valkyrie.
Thor and Hulk. No, but Valkyrie is part of that Thor world. I mean, Civil War gave us the entire Avengers. Spider-Man No Way Home gave us an entire Spider-Verse. You know what I'm saying?
Civil War was definitely Avengers, 2.5 or
100%.
100%.
So I consider this just a multiverse movie.
So if you were ranking all 3 Captain America films, you wouldn't do Civil War?
Yeah. No. I would have to put it in there. But I'm saying I could never put it as number 1 because it wasn't definitively just a Captain America.
That's because it's not number 1.
Well, no, because Winter Soldier.
Exactly.
Winter Soldier is awesome. So yeah.
If I didn't,
so there'd be no debate there.
If I didn't use Civil War the way I do, I would probably put it.
I can see, but I can see somebody. I can even see myself possibly, if I really think about it. I can see myself putting No Way Home number 1. I can.
That's why I said I can't do it now because I would 100% put it at number 1.
Yeah,
I absolutely can. Absolutely can.
It's
number 1. It's number 1 right now.
I want to sit on it because I told you I rewatched Spider-Man 3 before we got here, and I didn't hate it as much as I did.
Dude, it's so underrated. It really is underrated. I just recently rewatched the whole thing.
I just rewatched Amazing Spider-Man 2. It had the same problem. I could make a case for a lot of superhero movies. It just didn't have a strong third act. Its third act was just piss poor
and horrible.
It's not a horrible movie.
And horrible villains. Horrible villains too.
Yeah, Goblin was bad. Electro wasn't done right.
Electro, the version of Electro was bad, and that Goblin was so bad.
The powers were cool. Electro's powers were kind of cool.
I'll tell you this.
Yeah,
I like the story.
Cool. It was.
I like the story. The story gets muddied around the third act.
One of the best Spider-Man costumes ever is an Amazing Spider-Man 2.
And I know you guys will probably put into the Spider-Verse into your conversation.
1000%.
Absolutely.
I just can't.
1000%.
Absolutely.
I can't do it.
If you're including it, yes, I'll definitely put it up top. But if not, I mean, it's No Way Home probably.
Yeah. And it's tough, Joel, because I tell you this, I looked at that suit again when I watched the movie, and I'm like, Joel's right. That's a nice ass suit. And if it wasn't for the fact,
what, Amazing Spider-Man 2?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
If it wasn't for the fact that I just can't see what this new suit of Tom's is, this would be my all-time favorite suit if I could just get a better look at it.
I got a good look at it. It's pretty awesome. It's probably one of my favorites, if not the best.
He's just moving so quick, but that's that suit design.
I don't like the blue being that bright.
That suit design that you have on your shirt, Joe, is what I think I'm seeing.
I would rather that blue.
Yeah. It's just
what I think I'm seeing.
It's got a different texture. It's got a different. It's got a shine to it, but it's the same color.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's more so than the color blue, because I think it is a little lighter, but it's not like his homemade suit light blue, because that was really too light. But
and I want to get a better look at the spider on the back, because that matters to me.
It looked like it was the classic bubble fat.
That's what I thought, Joel. But again, it just
you can't see it.
It's got to be online somewhere, dude. There's got to be someone who has a screenshot.
Here's my problem. I don't want to see that. I am fine just waiting till the next time I see him as Spider-Man and judging it that way. I want to see it in that. You know what I'm saying?
Because one of the highlights.
Wait, 5 years?
If someone just enhances the quality of it, I still can't.
Gotta wait for it on Blu-ray and shit.
Right, right. That I want to see it.
Keep pausing it.
But
April.
Malcolm's saying in Amazing Spider-Man 2, they did Dane DeHaan dirty. I'm like, they did. A lot of people thought Dane DeHaan couldn't act coming out of that movie. I'm like, Dane DeHaan is so gifted.
I thought Dane was a good Harry. He just was a bad goblin.
Really quick for your
ugly
viewers,
goblin.
For your viewers and for you guys, I really do want you to know off the top, I do love Into the Spider-Verse. I think it's. And you and I were talking about Juwan. You even thought it was a kids movie, and I was just like, "All right, I'll watch." I seen it in the theaters. I was like, "Yeah, I'll watch it." You know, I didn't think anything of it, and I came out of the movie theater. I was like, "Holy shit, that was fucking awesome!"
I will say that was a dark time for me doing anything animated. So I very much was just like, I absolutely
loved Into the Spider-Verse. I did. But here's how I feel about putting it on a list and trying to compare it to the other live action films. And it's when you're doing live action, you're doing animation. With animation, I mean, you could probably say the same thing with CGI and VFX, but more so with animation, you have a lot more liberties and a lot more freedoms to do stuff on animation.
I say that all the time.
That you could get away with as a director of live action.
I judge it purely off the story.
Right.
Not the spectaculars, not all the visuals. What was your story?
Okay.
And as emotional as I told you guys I was for this movie, I was just as emotional watching Miles jump off that building. I still get goosebumps.
Yeah.
My biggest regret.
I think it's. I mean, I guess you could say like having all those different Spider-Man coming in the way they did is something that we probably, if we ever see in live action, would be a crazy feat.
I don't think I've ever felt this emotional during the movie. It was that I felt in No Way Home, because like. There was so many fucking beats where I was like choking up. I was like, "This is insane. Let me just watch the movie." Like it was almost distracting how emotional I got during the movie.
Really was.
Yeah, no, I Into the Spider-Verse at a bunch of points choked me. I just regret I never saw it in theaters. That's definitely a movie I wish I could just go back and see.
No, it was really good in theaters. It was.
Yeah, when it comes to animation, Joe, I judge off story. What was your story compared to their story? Nothing else matters to me. And that's why I would put it up there, because I can make a case it's probably one of the better stories out of all the Spider-Man movies.
It had a good story. It did.
Not one of the best stories.
Gotcha.
But all right. So guys, please stay tuned. We're breaking out Hawkeye this Wednesday. And hopefully this episode gives us all the Christmas gifts we could ever ask for. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully for Trayvon, someone's flying, preferably Jessica Jones.
I think Spider-Man might be flying overhead.
I keep saying, Joe, stop telling people that, because when they don't get it, they're gonna be upset.
No. I doubt Tom Holland is going to get a cameo in Hawkeye finale. No, I don't think so. But I really do think that the timelines are
concurrent.
Are concurrent. Yeah, just because of the time.
I hope so. That'd be cool.
Look, there'd be nothing cooler than to know that Daredevil in that city, and then Kingpin in that city,
or Spider-Man in that.
Because you know what it is though, too. Out of all the places you could have had Tom Holland Spider-Man jump off of and fly over, right? Mm-hmm. At the end of No Way Home, to jump off of 30 Rockefeller and to fly over the ice skating rink and to see the tree, it just felt, like I said, because we're getting the finale next week, I was just like, was this done on purpose?
100%.
So
it was supposed to be a gift for anyone watching the Hawkeye series. It's why the musical banner was there. It's why he flew. It's why he swung by there. Yep. It's more so of a treat for anyone that's actually watching the Hawkeye. Because if you weren't watching Hawkeye, that meant nothing to you. You're just like, oh, cool,
yeah, you're right.
Oh, cool, that's a nice treat.
Oh, Rogers the musical. What the hell is that?
Right,
you need to swing by the Stark Tower. I need to know the Reed Richards bar.
Yeah, who the hell's got Stark Tower?
I keep telling you guys, we already have the answer to that. There is a reason why it wasn't in this, and there's a reason why the director of this, his next project, is Fantastic Four.
We know it can't be Oscorp now because Osborns don't exist.
Right.
I was very happy when he said that, actually. I was like, yes, good.
It will 100% be the Baxter Building, and we will find out once John Watts can.
I will call you if I see that. I will call you when I see that. I will scream. Like, I'm so excited.
It's gotta be. It has to be.
I love Fantastic
It's not a coincidence.
I love
to me, it's not a coincidence. Even Tom saying in that interview, "Oh yeah, I do know." That means John Watts told him, because it wasn't in the movie. That means John Watts must have told him. He was like, "Oh yeah," and even Zendaya's reaction of, "Oh, okay." So it let you know right there.
I don't trust them. I felt like they didn't say anything. I felt like he said nothing.
Who owns the Baxter Building? Baxter Stockman, right? From Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
Obviously.
Yes. It's the crossover we never knew we need.
Damn fly.
Damn fly.
All right, so make sure you guys stay tuned this Wednesday for an all-new Marvel Cinematic Review. Completely lost track of what I was saying. We're going to break down the finale of Hawkeye right before our Christmas break, and then nothing Marvel-wise. I will be maybe thinking about replacing Marvel Cinematic Universe with a Star Wars show to break down Book of Boba each week. So stay tuned for that, because that's going to be a lot of fun until we get to Moon Knight next year. But also make sure you guys are following Just Your Average Joe on Instagram and YouTube. He's got Monday Morning Quarterback coming up tomorrow morning. And Joe also will be breaking down Spider-Man No Way Home and Hawkeye.
Possibly Thursday if you're free.
Thursday.
Only
be free.
The only day I can do it, because we got Christmas. Christmas is this weekend, so there's no way.
Don't worry, I'll make sure.
No way home.
No way home to do this. But make sure you guys are following Just Your Average Joe. Trayvon will be back with me for Marvel Cinematic Review to talk Hawkeye, so I can tell him how wrong he was. And Joel will be with me. To be doing Much Ado About Nothing. We got a lot of Nick stuff and geek stuff to break down tomorrow. And then Figure It Out. Our last Figure It Out. Will it be our last Figure It Out before the new year?
Well, no. Before Christmas.
No. I'm saying unless
we don't do it next week.
How to count. No, I forgot how to count. We'll have a Figure It Out episode this week. So stay tuned for that. I got a new figure I do want to show off. Joel knows what the figure is, so I can't wait to show you guys. But thank you guys so much for joining this stream. We had a lot of fun. You guys were amazing in the comment section. A-Train, Mr. E. You all were great. Thank you guys. And until next time.
Peace.
Peace.